to serial killers, missing persons, and more.
100% he did this.
I'd go off into fantasy world.
How much more lucky can you get that you're not on death row?
You want to know what we know?
My name is Jay. This is Guilty of Crime.
Hello, everybody. It's Jay with Guilty of Crime. Hopefully you saw the beginning and you were able to see earlier that I posted. I tried to give you as much time as I could. So today we're talking about Sebastian Rogers. Now, everybody's asking for Sebastian Rogers because there's so many things in the case that I think are, they're definitely mysterious because Sebastian Rogers, I always say that, Sebastian Rogers is still missing, and there's a lot of speculation swirling around his parents, the Proudfoots, his stepdad and his mom. I'm going to give you a brief overview, a timeline, and a little bit of a description about the case and the parents. Let me put a picture of him up there, and then we're going to do it deception detective style, and we're going to find out together if they have guilty knowledge and what you think. Now, listen to me loud and clear. The goal of today is to get the Proudfoots to do an interview with deception detective Mr. DD. He's going to say that loud and clear on his video that we're going to play with him and go through that and react to it. He wants an interview with the Proudfoot parents, and they're giving them all over the place like tickets, okay? They're giving out interviews, and if they're not afraid, they'll do an interview with him, and he'll tell us if they have guilty knowledge. But we're going to tell you today what we think, and you're going to tell me what you think about the parents. You guys asked for it, so I'm bringing Sebastian Rogers, and we're going to tell you if they have guilty knowledge and what we think about them, their interviews, what the biological dad Seth Rogers thinks, what he thought in the beginning, what he thinks now. We're going to go through that. So let me put a picture of Sebastian so everybody knows who Sebastian is, of course, in case you hadn't caught the case before. I'm going to just put this up at full screen so we can see a picture of him, and we'll do a brief overview. Everybody, hello as you trickle in. Cheech Brown, Donna B, Rita, Melly, Michelle. Absolutely. You're welcome. I wanted to tell you also, a lot of people were confused about getting gifted memberships and what that means. Let me adjust my camera a little bit here. If it goes a little wacky, it's a little bit set, a little offset. Memberships. If you got a membership, you're going to have perks to my channel. And the perks are going to be in the section of the community. I'll show you later at the end of the video, but right now I want to get into what we're here for, Sebastian Rogers, and to bring him home, everybody. So I'm going to give you, look at this guy, look at who we're looking for, and I'm going to break it down for you, what we know so far and why we're here today. Okay. So let me tell you quickly, Monday, February 26th, Sebastian Rogers goes missing. 6:30 a.m. in the morning, Sebastian is reported missing. Let me make sure I'm on here, and then I'm going to go through it. I know you probably already know, but for those of you that don't, we're going to break that down in details. Coach Complete, hello. Awesome to see everybody starting to trickle in here. I promise you this is going to be an amazing episode today, and we have a goal. Our goal is to get the Proudfoots with deception detective, and you're going to hear it from his mouth, everybody. So Monday, February 26th, 6:30 a.m. Sebastian is reported missing on a Monday in the morning. By 12:17 p.m., an endangered child alert is issued by the Tennessee Bureau of Investigation on behalf of the Sumner County Sheriff's Office. Sebastian was last seen near Stafford Court in Hendersonville wearing a black sweatshirt, black sweatpants, and glasses. You guys keep note of that. He was last seen wearing his glasses. Over 200 searchers, including including the K9 teams, mounted units, helicopter crews, and drones dispatched to look for Sebastian within nearly 5-mile radius. The search is particularly crucial due to his autism, everyone, and you're going to hear about that from his parents. You're going to hear about it in the interviews, and you're going to hear about a lot of things today. You're going to hear new things that you haven't heard. So if you haven't stayed up to date on this, you're going to hear new things. DD and J, which is me, equals a dream team. I hope to do this together, and I hope to bring the Proudfoots on to our channel. So we went to Monday, February 26th. Sebastian's missing. Tuesday, on the 27th, there is an Amber Alert, which we said was 12:17 p.m. Dozens of agencies continued searching for Sebastian, employing unique tactics such as playing his favorite song, Eye of the Tiger. If you didn't know that, they played that in different areas to call him out. Authorities urge local residents then and now to keep checking your surveillance cameras and report any relevant information. Let's get Sebastian Rogers home. Hopefully he's still alive. Okay. Now, the Proudfoot family is Sebastian's mother and stepfather, Katie and Chris Proudfoot. They were the last ones to see him. Well, they weren't, because Chris was supposedly out of town. I think they verified that. Anyway, Katie saw him going to bed on the night of February 25th. The next morning, he was gone. Katie said she heard a thud from Sebastian's room around 10 p.m., but assumed he was going to sleep. Chris was working in Memphis that night and returned home after being notified of Sebastian's disappearance. The Proudfoots have faced scrutiny, and they're going to face it a little more today regarding their whereabouts and actions during this critical time. Okay, the search is ongoing. The United Cajun Navy involvement has come in. It's a nonprofit specializing in missing persons and rescue operations. They joined that search, but later pulled back due to safety concerns and death threats received by its members. Not sure why, but sethrogers, Sebastian's biological father, has expressed confusion about the circumstances and lack of communication by the Proudfoots, which includes his ex-wife and the stepfather. Right now, the case continues to captivate you all. People from other countries are asking me to cover this, so keep that in mind. The Amber Alert remains in effect, emphasizing the urgency to find him, as he's been missing a month, and there's a possibility he could not be alive anymore. So let me check in with you all and make sure people are still here. Smash that like button on your way in. I've got a great episode for you today to catch you up on things, okay? So let's get into this first video, and it's the breaking news from the beginning, but I'm going to play the part of the interview with the parents, okay? So let's listen to that and hear about the case, and then we'll get into all the new stuff.
And he's gone without his medication this whole time. And since then, authorities have searched by air, by foot, and on horseback.
Helicopters, drones, and dive teams have also been brought in to try to find him. Today, his parents spoke exclusively to our Holly Thompson.
She's live tonight in Sumner County. Holly, I imagine it was quite an emotional interview.
All right.
But we know one thing is certain. They remain positive. They are holding on to hope that their son Sebastian will.
All right, let's listen to let's listen to this interview, everybody. The infamous interview.
Walk us through
Okay.
Safely.
Can you walk us through what you're thinking right now?
I just want my baby to be okay. I don't know where he's at.
Mom Katie broke down several times in our interview, but says her hope is strong that her son Sebastian will be found safe and return home.
He's going to walk through that door, and the street will be flooded again with family and relatives all waiting to hug and love him. And
Stepdad Chris says it's been an emotional roller coaster that all started Sunday night, February 25th.
Pretty normal. He was playing in his room when I told him to go to bed.
Remember, keep an eye on the parents. We're looking for guilty knowledge, everybody. This is what we're looking for, is guilty knowledge. These parents have been out there talking to a lot of people, and we're going to see the interviews. We're going to see it again and again. We're watching this one to find out if you think they have guilty knowledge. Please smash that like button. We have a big episode today.
He did. He said, "Good night, Mom. I love you."
Katie says she went to wake up Sebastian around 6 a.m. Monday for school, and he was gone. Within minutes, Katie says she was on the phone with Chris, who was working out of town, and they quickly called 911.
And he's not a runner. He's never run away before. I don't know why. I don't know why he walked out that door.
I mean, he's a good kid. He's not a mischievous child by any means.
Katie and Chris say Sebastian is not on social media. While he loves to play Minecraft, they tell me he does not have any online capabilities. I asked if there was any reason he might want to leave.
We've been combing over that day and even the weeks before he left, and I hadn't been able to figure it out. He's that morning he was laughing, he was joking.
It's as if Sebastian vanished. No sign of him on any video throughout the community. Thousands of miles logged by law enforcement, canines, helicopters, even dive teams, and no sign of him. Chris and Katie tell me they've been harassed, people pointing fingers at them.
You're not in this situation. You don't quite understand. I wish people would step back, take a different wide open view, and not assume what they.
We're taking a wide open view, everybody. We have lots of points of view today. We're not taking the stance on them being guilty, but we want to know if they have guilty knowledge. So pay attention to what he's saying and what he's not saying, okay? We've got a lot to listen to.
It's just better to stick to the facts.
Are you both in the clear?
I can tell you that Mom, myself, and the father have worked very fully and cooperatively with all agencies across the board. We have anything that they've wanted, we have provided.
What do you want to say to Sebastian? What do you want him to hear from you right now?
That we love you so much and we want you to come home and you're not in trouble.
Okay.
All right, y'all. What would he be in trouble for, everybody? Can you think of what he would be in trouble for, or why she says that he's not in trouble? I'm trying to get the lighting here. What would he not be in trouble for? And what are they talking about? Why are they even saying that? What are they not saying? Why is it such an wide open view? And why are they saying stick to the facts? What facts are they talking about that we don't know? What are they not telling us? So pay attention to that. The mom was crying, but not really. And there's a lot of things that are happening. Yeah, you're not in trouble. Were you in a fight before he left that you're not telling us about? What are we missing here? So I'm going to start bringing up the deception detective so we can see one parent that we know is not guilty, and you could compare the not guilty to what you think of somebody that would have guilty knowledge. Okay, so we're gonna get started, jump into this soon. The only thoughts that I have before we get started with that, and I switch my screens, keep in mind the Proudfoots at what they're doing right now, how they're searching, and their actions. They face a lot of questions about it. And we now know that the stepfather used to spank him. The night of the disappearance, Katie reported hearing the thud, 10 p.m. We saw flashlights on some footage. And after his disappearance, when they left their home, Chris returned to work and Katie accompanied him. She wasn't out searching for him or staying at home waiting for him to come home. She went and decided to leave her home, even though that they decided, or people are searching for him. She decided to go hang out with her husband at work. So Chris Proudfoot did admit to punishing Sebastian. He said it was only once several years ago, everybody. I don't believe that. Giving him a swat with a belt on his butt outside of his clothes. Now, Seth Rogers, who's the biological father, stated that neither Katie nor Chris have spoken with him about the investigation. So that is suspicious on its own, to not be talking to the biological father about what happened to your son and fill him in on the things going on in the house. Let's listen to the biological father and where he's coming from and how you can see the difference between innocent and somebody that has guilty knowledge or may be guilty. All right, let's speed this up a little bit so we're not sitting here for hours and hours and we can catch up on the case. We're not caught up on my channel yet.
Great sign that he's innocent, because he doesn't even have to say all this stuff. He doesn't have to describe Sebastian. He's showing up to an interview that he knows is going to be on the side of the road. There's not going to be any news graphics behind him showing Sebastian. So he is showing Sebastian. What does Sebastian Rogers' biological father, Seth Rogers, know about his son's disappearance, if anything? I'm Deception Detective. I'm an attorney trained in statement analysis, and this channel exists to expose lies and manipulation. In today's video, we'll analyze an interview Seth Rogers did with Fox News. If you're not familiar with this case, here's a quick summary. On February 25th, 2024, Sebastian was reported missing by his mother and his stepfather, Katie and Chris Proudfoot. Sebastian is still missing, and many suspect the Proudfoots know more than they're admitting to because he was with them at the time of his disappearance. I personally have not analyzed the Proudfoots,
But we
that's
want
because
you
I've seen
to.
them do many YouTube interviews to clear their names, and I would like to invite them to do an interview with me before I analyze them. So Chris and Katie,
Please.
if you're watching, you can contact me at deceptiondeck.com and we can arrange it.
Let's
Doesn't even
get
have to be a
that.
video interview. It could even be an AMA in my forum, whatever you're comfortable with. The
Let's
point
make
is,
that
if I
happen,
don't detect
people.
Any deception in our interview, I, for one, will vouch for your story. With all that said, let's start listening.
Today. Seth, it's been more than a month since your son went missing. How are you feeling today?
Same as I was yesterday.
Just a quick warning. I think this interview was recorded in mono, so you might need both headphones in order to hear it.
Continuing the search.
Yeah, it's in one headphone and not the other guy. So if you have one earphone in, put both of them in so you can hear this, so you don't think that the sound went out. Now, this is Seth Rogers, and this is I believe this is his first interview. There's many to come, but Mr. DD is going to break it down for us. He's already told you right off the bat, him wearing that "Have You Seen Me?" Sebastian Rogers shirt is a good indicator that he is innocent and wants his son back and will do anything that it takes to get him back.
Continue looking. I'm not going to give up. Nobody can make me give up.
And where have you been searching? Where do you think he is?
I've been searching everywhere. I mean, anything out of that 5 mile radius that the initial search did, they covered everything there. But there's stuff elsewhere. I mean, we got a lot of territory to cover. And it being over a month, he could be anywhere currently. So I'm searching everywhere.
You, Katie, and Chris had a meeting with TBI.
So the interviewer asked him, where are you searching? He told us a 5 mile radius, but since it's been a month, everywhere. This is actually a very good answer. So if you followed my channel for some time, you know that my audience, whenever I do a community poll, typically votes for me to analyze parents of missing children. I think because it strikes a chord with the true crime community. There's really nothing sadder than a little kid who's missing, especially if the parents are responsible. So for example, we've analyzed William Tyrrell, Madeline McCann, Summer Wells.
So we're asking Deception Detective now to analyze the video, the latest video of the parents' interview, which we're going to play after this, so we can analyze it and we can get Deception Detective to analyze it as well. He's done his due diligence in this case and done this part of it. This is the first time I've ever reported on this case, so that's why I'm catching you up.
And most recently, Madeline Soto, who went missing on the same day as Sebastian Rogers. When parents of missing children get the opportunity to go onto the news or to do a YouTube interview or go on Nancy Grace like the Proudfoots did, you can expect them to do certain things. So typically, this is my checklist you can find in the DD forum. They do these things. They speak about the kid in the present tense, and that's because they don't know whether the kid's dead or not, so they default to alive. It's easier that way. If you don't know what happened to your kid, you're going to want to believe they're alive, especially if it's only been a month. Number two is they are cooperative. So when the interviewer asks them a question, they do their best to answer it. So even if they don't know where the kid is, they will give their best guess. And we saw Seth Rogers do that right here. She asked where he's looking. He said, ideally, it's a 5 mile radius, but because it's been a month, I'm searching everywhere. I don't know where he is, which is different than just saying, I have no idea, or I don't know, like we saw Casey Anthony say. And recently we saw Jennifer Soto say that. And Madeline Soto's stepfather, Stephen Stearns. So even though the answer was vague, it was cooperative. Third is parents of missing children are inconclusive. In other words, they don't know what happened. So even if they have a best guess about what happened, they can't say for sure. which is why when the McCanns said from day one, Madeline must have been kidnapped, or the Wells said, Summer Wells must have been kidnapped.
Or the Proudfoot said, we don't know what happened. We heard a thud and that was it. Very vague, very concise to their story, both sticking to the same. And Katie looks to Chris to find out what happened. Even though he wasn't there that night, she looks to him to see what happens throughout the video. And we're going to see it again when we watch the other video next. So what he's saying is just spot on. We need DD to analyze the footage of the Proudfoots, or if they're not too scared, to do an interview with him directly.
Without any evidence of a kidnapping, it's a red flag for a hoax. Fourth, parents of missing children typically will look into the camera and address any kidnappers. So they might say, hey, if you have my kid, please drop them off at a police station. There's a reward. We won't pursue you. They have medical needs. He needs his medicine. Anything they need to say to a potential kidnapper, because it's on the table of possibilities. Fifth, they address the child through the camera. So if you have this one opportunity to speak to the news and you don't know where your kid is, you're likely to take that opportunity to talk to them through the camera.
Right.
When parents don't do that, it can indicate that they know where the kid is and that they know they're dead, because speaking to them through the camera doesn't even occur to them. Right? We always speak based on everything we know. So the parent who knows their kid is dead or knows where their kid is might not take that opportunity because it doesn't even occur to them, because they don't have that
That's
curiosity in the first place.
familiar.
Sixth, we can expect the parent of a missing child to ask for help. Right? They know that they're not doing this interview to clear their names or build up their alibi or build a story. Typically, they don't even need to be prompted to ask for help. That's the entire reason they're appearing on the interview, is to ask for help. When they don't ask for help, it's a red flag, because it might mean they have some other agenda, like they want to clear their name, or they want to build up a certain narrative of a kidnapping, right? So they're pushing a story, or they want to make people feel sympathy for them. Either way, they have some other agenda besides asking for help, which should be the only priority they have.
Let me know in the comments what you think so far. If you're on the rewatch crew, put it in the comments. If you're in the live chat, put it in the live chat. Let me know what you think. We saw that first interview. You all are familiar with this case. And as he's talking and telling you what they should be doing, what they're not doing, what do you think?
And then number 7, there's a call to action. So for example, they say, hey, if you see my kid, here's what they look like. Call them by this name, right? He responds Sebastian or Seb. And we have this special hotline number, or call 911. Whatever it is, they have some sort of call to action. Just like a commercial always has a call to action, right? Commercials know what their purpose is. Call 1-800 whatever to claim your coupons. The point is, they have a call to action because there's a purpose. When there is no call to action, once again, it's a red flag, the same way that not asking for help is a red flag, that the parents are appearing on the interview for some ulterior motive. And that requires digging into further. So he gave a great answer to that first question, and we can see that he has a picture of Sebastian on his t-shirt, as well as Sebastian's age, 15 years old, weight, height, last time he was seen. This right here is meeting lots of the criteria already, and we're only a few seconds into the interview. So he's being cooperative, and he's asking for help through his t-shirt. He's providing useful information, as well as a call.
Speaking of call to action, DD, please analyze the Proudfoots. That is the whole reason I'm doing this entire video today, is to get your attention, Mr. DD, and ask you to analyze the Proudfoots, please, so we can make a call to action to the people to get them talking more. What they're saying, in my opinion, isn't enough, and we're going to hear throughout this episode why I think that.
Call to action, right? If you see this kid, call 911.
Today, did you find out any new information?
Not that I can discuss.
Any progression that might show hope in this search?
Oh, I always have hope. Can't take that away from me.
And how
This is another good answer. So I'm going to bring up another one of my checklists just briefly to show you why hope is so important. You can find all these checklists for yourself. I've put them all in the resources tab on forum.deceptiondeck.com. So here's my 911 call checklist. And basically, this is just a checklist that the FBI created to determine if a caller is innocent or guilty. It might have been updated in the past few years, but this is the one I prefer to use, tailored to what I like to look for. And as you can see, that parents who are calling 911 who are actually innocent never give up hope. They deny the victim's death, whereas guilty callers often accept the victim's death. So they start saying, well, she's dead or he's dead, or they speak about the kid in the past tense. So the fact that he's not giving up hope, even after a month, is a great sign that he doesn't know whether or not Sebastian is dead. Guilty parents, even if they're trying to act like they're innocent, still slip up and speak about the kid in the past tense because they know the kid is dead. And the famous case of that is Susan Smith. But we also saw Don Wells do it. We've seen the McCann slip up and do it. We've seen William Tyrrell's foster parents slip up and do it.
How confident are you that Sebastian is alive?
And in fact, most recently, in my last video, How to Expose a Psychopath, we saw Stephen Stearns do it. He gave an interview less than 24 hours after his stepdaughter went missing. And in that interview, he said, well, it's hard to find hope, or we've lost hope. That's not what you would expect the parent of a missing child to say, especially less than 24 hours after they went missing. But it is what you would expect someone who knows the kid is dead to say. Because, yeah, they've lost hope because the kid's dead.
Is alive, and what do you think he's doing right now?
Pretty sure he's probably playing video games somewhere. Nobody's letting him, whoever's got him, they're not letting him see the regular news. They're not letting him surf the internet. Or else he'd know that I'm looking for him. And he'd know that he should actually be trying to get a hold of me. And that keeps me going.
Is there a strong reason to believe he may have been abducted?
I don't know if he's been abducted or if he's just, over at a friend's house.
Once again, this is the right answer. He's not conclusive. He's inconclusive. He might have been kidnapped. He might be at a friend's house. He's a 15-year-old kid. Maybe he ran away. Maybe he's staying in the woods. The point is, the dad doesn't know because he literally doesn't know. Whereas parents who know what happened reveal it through the words they choose. Or they reveal it through the hoax they try to.
Right. We're going to watch a little more of this. I don't think I'm going to play all of it because we want to get into the Proudfoots and what guilty knowledge that they have. And we're still going to listen to Seth and a new interview that's easier to hear because this is very hard to hear and it keeps going in and out. And our call to action is to get you, Mr. Deception Detective, to analyze the new videos from the Proudfoots. And they're a lot. They're talking.
The push where they only consider one option. And the favorite option of guilty parents is a kidnapping because it points all the attention away from themselves. So whenever you see a parent of a missing kid insist that the kid was kidnapped without any evidence, a red flag should go up that this might be a hoax. Because actual parents of missing children might consider a kidnapping as one of the options, maybe even a big option, but it's not the only option. They're genuinely curious about what happened to their kid because they don't know what happened. So the kid could have run off, could have been kidnapped, could be hiding, could be up in the attic, pretending to have run away.
Never know. But I'll know when I find him. I'll know exactly what has happened to him.
And other news outlets were reporting that there were lights seen in the backyard that were caught on camera by a neighbor's video. Is that true?
No. What that was a trash truck. Went through, picked up trash, and when it left, of course it went faster. It didn't have to stop to pick up trash. That's just false information provided by a particular person.
Did the dogs ever pick up a scent for Sebastian?
From my information that I've been given, no.
So notice how he tries to answer every question. So he's cooperative. As far as I know, no. Based on what the police have told me, no. Is it possible the dogs might pick up a scent? Yes. So the inconclusiveness is the sign of someone who actually doesn't know what happened.
Now, what he's saying is by a certain person, he's starting to talk about his ex-wife and the stepdad without talking about them. We're going to watch this progress as he starts to talk about them and he gets tired of this. His patience is running thin. Okay, so we're going to watch that progress here as he does that. But we are sure this guy is completely innocent and he's a loving father that just wants his son back.
Whereas, for example, there's so many comparisons of guilty parents, but once again, I'll just point to Stephen Stearns because we did this video most recently. When he was talking about evidence that the police found, he said, well, they found videos, but none of it's useful, right? Or it was too grainy. By saying the evidence isn't useful that early on, it shows that he has knowledge outside the facts. He knows more than he should. How does he know the evidence the police have is useless? How could he be so sure? Why not hold out hope that it is useful? Right. So, for example, here, if Seth had said, well, the dogs aren't going to find anything, that would be a red flag. How would he know the dogs wouldn't find Sebastian's scent?
Does that remind you of anything? Anybody? Any interviews that we've been watching where, oh no, we checked the friends, we did everything, we handed out flyers, whatever, done. We don't think she's coming home. Only 24 hours later. Big red flags. For him, not so much.
So these subtle words that people use reveal what they know. And it's very difficult for liars to manipulate their answers to sound honest because you always speak based on everything you know. So for example, if I know I've been speeding and a cop pulls me over and they say, do you know what you did wrong? I will answer differently if I wasn't speeding, just based on whether or not I know I was speeding. Even if I want to lie or tell the truth, the words I pick will be different because I know certain things. For example, I might try to be more persuasive that I wasn't speeding if I decide to lie.
Did they find anything on Sebastian's cell phone that would, kind of show that he was going to run away or where he might be?
Not that I know of. He didn't have any internet access or anything on there. He'd have been able to call, text, take a picture, send a picture, use the calculator. That's about it.
Was Sebastian in school on Friday, the day before he went missing?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Are you, Chris, or Katie, or any of you suspects in this case?
No, we're not.
Also, just one note, if you're new to my channel, because every time I start a new series, I get lots of new subscribers. So thank you for hitting the subscribe button. Thank you for joining the channel. But one thing about my channel is I do not analyze body language. I think that it's more distracting than it is.
Agreed, Mr. DD. We appreciate you not doing that. We appreciate your take versus other people that we have on our channel. And we're going to pull this down so we can listen to the updated stuff. I just wanted to have a call to action from Mr. Deception Detective. And I've said it about 7 times now. Please analyze the new videos so we can bring new content to these people. But everybody's in comments talking about what's going on. We're going to listen to some of this video. Well, we're going to listen to a lot of it. We're going to listen to Nancy call out the parents, and then we're going to listen to Seth strike back. Okay, so this is what we're doing. This is the show for tonight. We're going to listen to Nancy and how she's trying to trick them and what they're saying. Now, pay attention. The reason I played this video first was so you can see the difference between somebody that is innocent and somebody that may have some guilty knowledge. So let me lower my volume a little bit. His was a bit off. Not that his was off, but I think mine. Ooh, and now Nancy's really loud. So we're gonna lower this even more, and we're gonna watch this together, and we're gonna analyze it together versus you watching it on your own. You could watch it on your own already. Oh, what does that say? Hold on. Something happened here with, I'm not sure what. Let's pull this down. Come back here, and I don't know what it says is blocking, but we're going to share this, and we're going to watch it together, everybody. And Nancy's loud mouth is just like mine.
6, Monday morning, 6 a.m. From everything we can tell, that is the moment that Sebastian's mom and stepdad realize he's gone. For just one moment, imagine that. You go in your child's room where you find your child every single school day morning and you wake them up.
We know. Let's listen to the interview, Nancy.
Like I said, we're operating on this.
We understand all this. All right, let's.
To when Sebastian goes missing.
There we go.
Miss Proudfoot, I understand that the day before, which would have been Sunday, if I've got the information correct, that you guys went out, you went to dinner, you went to somewhere, I believe you said BJ's, where he had a quote, colossal popcorn. Then you came home that night, and around 9 p.m., you tell Sebastian to go to bed. He says, okay, he goes to his room. Is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
That night, I understand from previous statements you've made that you went to bed around midnight. Is that correct?
It is.
And to you, Mr. Proudfoot, Chris Proudfoot, did you also go to bed at midnight or before?
You know what's bothering me so far about them, and it bothered me in the first interview, is that she seems like she's so meek and like quiet, and I don't know why she's not. Nancy Grace is outshining her on this, and everybody is freaking louder and wants to find Sebastian, and she's so like timid and drawn back. Like, what is behind her head that she's trying to hide, or what evidence is she trying to omit from this? There's something going on when someone talks like that, and that yes, ma'am bothers me that she says the whole time. I understand that you have some kind of respect for people, but get it out there already. You want your son back.
Or after?
No, ma'am. We went to bed around the same time because we were on the phone together.
And
was not home.
please excuse any of my questions. I'm simply trying to find out more about that night. Do you two sleep in the same bedroom?
He wasn't actually in the home at all that weekend.
You were not home.
No,
Okay.
ma'am.
So where were you, Mr. Proudfoot?
I was in Memphis, Tennessee.
How far away is that?
3 hours and 37 minutes from doorstep to doorstep.
Wow.
And what were you doing in Memphis?
Working.
Minute to minute.
Where do you work?
I'm currently working, or was working, at the St. Jude Children's Hospital construction project.
Yes, I'm very familiar with St. Jude's. You said you were working there. Are you no longer working there?
He doesn't
Right
know.
now, that's up in the air.
Well, you've been gone ever since Sebastian went missing, so I understand. When you are home, do you two sleep in the same bedroom?
Yes, ma'am.
Is this a 3-bedroom home?
Yes, ma'am.
Where is your room as it relates to Sebastian's room?
It's on the opposite end of the house. The master bedroom's on one side, and the other 2 bedrooms are on the other side of the house.
Okay, so your master bedroom is on one side of the house and Sebastian's room is on the other side of the house. Is that correct?
I just want to strangle the mom, though, how she's not just saying, bring Sebastian home. If you have him, or if somebody knows, or Sebastian, if you're watching this, please come home. Like, why is she not doing that? This is a second interview. She's on freaking Nancy Grace. Nancy Grace has everybody's attention, you guys, and you all know that. Why? Can anybody defend her on this?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Now, you have a 3rd bedroom that I believe you keep for your other daughter. Is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Is that Faith? Is your other daughter named Faith?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So where is Faith's bedroom as it relates to Sebastian's bedroom?
It's in the back side of the house. Sebastian's bedroom is
So
in the
it's-
front side of the house.
Okay. So his bedroom is away from Faith's bedroom and away from your master bedroom. Is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Is Sebastian's room on a top floor or a ground level?
We have a ranch style house. It's a 1.5 story. So everything's flat, and then you have the bonus room above the garage.
Okay. So his is on ground floor, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. That morning, was there any sign of a break-in through a window, a front door, a back door, a sliding glass door, anything at all?
No, ma'am.
Okay. No sign of forced entry.
Now, do you hear that too? Thank you, I am Two Bear, for commenting. They don't even say his name. I just want to reach through and strangle that mom, especially. That's Sebastian Rogers' mother. She gave birth to him, and she's not sitting there pleading. This is what she's not doing. She's not even speaking up. She's barely talking. I can barely hear her. All I hear is her being compliant. It sounds like she's in an interrogation room and they're asking her questions. And when the dad answers, he's giving those answers like if it's his alibi. It was 3 hours and 37 minutes. What is going on? This is an interview to get your son home, people.
Was anything taken from the home at all?
Not that we could find anything. We couldn't find anything missing.
I want to circle back to Sebastian's shoes regarding if anything was missing. Do you have a burglar alarm?
No, ma'am.
Do you have a Ring doorbell cam?
No, ma'am.
We don't have anything.
Okay.
He's gone.
Have the 2 of you taken a polygraph?
Long pause.
I have
Silent.
not.
Would you be willing to?
I've offered and volunteered on many occasions to take a polygraph, and I was told directly by law enforcement because of my whereabouts, I did not need one.
I understand. Ms. Proudfoot, did you pass your polygraph?
I did.
Those questions out of the way. Was Faith in the home when Sebastian went missing?
No, ma'am.
Does anyone else have a key to your home beside your immediate family?
No.
No, ma'am.
Does this strike you odd, anybody? And now that you're watching it with us, me, the crime crew, how they're just answering in such a uniform fashion. Yes, ma'am. No, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. No. Yes. He did. She did. That's it. Pay attention as we're watching this. They're just like robots, and it's just like they're being interrogated, and they're afraid that they're going to get arrested at any moment. Something's going on behind their mind and in their head, everybody, that they're answering this way. There's something behind this. I'm telling you, there's no other way I could explain this. What I'm seeing, how I'm hearing it, what's coming through. Pay attention.
That night, Miss Proudfoot, at midnight when you went to bed, what did you do until midnight?
I had been reading a chapter that I needed to, and I had been talking to my husband on the phone. I was falling asleep on him, so that's when he told me it was around midnight. He told me to go ahead and put the dogs up and go to bed, and that's what I did. I got up, put the dogs where they sleep, and then I myself went to bed.
Where do they sleep?
They have a big pen.
A pen, is it inside or outside?
Inside.
Inside.
Short and direct answers may not be a sign of Dee Dee's deception, but it's a sign of deception on my part. And when I'm talking to people and they're not being clear and they're only answering what I'm asking and they're not elaborating, it's the deception that I'm getting is them not telling me something. There's something else behind there that they're afraid to let out. So it may not be a sign of deception in somebody else's book, but in my 44 years of experience, there's just something in their mind that they are hiding back there. So keep listening.
That reminds me of another question. Do you guys have a motion sensor light or lights on the outside of your house?
Yes, we do have lights on the outside of our house.
Did they activate that night?
They're not motion censored. We have lights.
Were they on that night?
No,
Okay.
ma'am.
Were they on that night? So the lights were out the whole night?
Yes, ma'am. We don't typically turn the floodlights on.
Okay, I have to address this because love Amanda Kay. We love you and we love everybody's opinion. But how do you get tired of answering questions about your missing son? That I don't get. If you're tired of answering questions about your missing son, then ask questions back or have a call to action. So I respect your opinion, but I don't get it at all.
Were there any lights outside the house on at all?
Just my little solar lights that we have in the garden.
There's two lights on the side of the house above the garage that are on at all times.
Oh, yeah, those are on.
Oh, there's a light above the garage. It's on at all times?
There's two. Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So those lights were on?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. The reason I'm asking is because I heard you say earlier, Mr. Proudfoot, that your neighbors have been very, very forthcoming with their Ring camera info. And I was trying to determine if any lights were on, what, if anything, they may have caught. But I understand from your previous interviews that nothing of any evidentiary value was caught. And also, in another statement you gave, I understand that the video of the two flashlights, and I'm saying that with air quotes, that's not exactly what that was at all. We now don't believe that two flashlights were observed around your home. Is that correct?
You're very correct.
Yeah, it does sound like they're just being interrogated, and up here it sounds like they're in a courtroom and they're instructed by their lawyer to answer this way. He didn't say by the lawyer, but he says he nailed it, and I pointed down. They sound like they're in a courtroom instructed to answer this way. Now keep in mind the mom's not at home searching for her son. She's not in the neighborhood handing out flyers, doing local search parties. She's off with her husband at work in an RV, so they're out on vacation, and maybe they got too stressed out so that she just decided to check out. I'm not saying that she did anything. What I'm saying is, and the question I'm asking is, do they have guilty knowledge? And when I see wheels turning and you answering questions like you're being asked by a lawyer and you're in court, something's missing.
Okay. Question regarding your vehicles. Ms. Proudfoot, what make and model do you drive?
I drive a Infinity SUV.
Year?
2017.
And sir, what do you drive?
I drive a diesel truck, Chevrolet.
Year?
I don't remember off the top of my head. I think it's a 2021, I think.
So your Infinity SUV was parked in the garage or outside the garage that night, Miss Proudfoot?
In the garage.
In the garage. And Mr. Proudfoot, your vehicle was on location in Memphis. Is that correct?
Correct.
Okay. So there's only one car at the home. Is that right?
There was actually a work vehicle in the driveway at the time as well, but it hasn't moved. We can't give out that information because we don't have permission from her work.
I don't understand that. What?
Yeah, me either. What?
About the make and model of the vehicle.
You
I have
can't
a work
say
van
that.
that was also parked in the driveway.
Tell everything.
Why is that? If it's out in the driveway where people can see it, why is that privileged information?
We just don't have permission from her company to divulge that information.
Divulge?
Have you asked?
No, ma'am, we have not. Nobody's asked us
So
that
that
question.
was-
to be honest with you.
Okay.
Wow.
So you have a work van. Question to you.
Do you all think that maybe they use that work van for something nefarious and they don't want people to know or be looking for that van? Or maybe it wasn't something nefarious, but what if it was and they don't want to give the make and model and description so that nobody could see, so nobody's looking for that on camera footage? Just a thought. We're working it out together.
Miss Proudfoot, what do you do for a living?
I am an installation technician.
That night, was the work van blocking your driveway? Could someone go in and out of your driveway?
The van is parked at the back of my driveway, so someone can pull in, yes.
Got it. Do you park your Infinity SUV in the garage or outside the garage?
In the garage.
In the garage. Do you have an automatic garage door?
With the clicker.
Yeah, automatic.
Do you leave that up or down at night?
Down.
Could anybody lift it up? Like, is there an on and off button outside, or do you have to know a code or have the clicker to open it?
You'd have to know the code or have the clicker.
Does Sebastian know the code?
Not to the garage door, but to the man doors.
What?
Not to the garage door, but to the house doors?
The regular door, yes.
So is there a code to get in your home, or do you use a regular key?
There's a code.
And he knows that code?
Yes, ma'am.
Question. I'm just trying to figure out how he would have gotten out, or if somebody came into the home. Could they have gotten through the garage door? No, unless they know the code or had the.
I think Nancy cares more about this case than they do at this point. Maybe they are tired of it answering questions. Maybe they are feeling like the burden is lifted and they don't have to deal with him anymore and all his bullshit. It just sounds like it to me, everybody. Listen to Krieg Santi, and she says, or he, I don't know who this is, but I think mom did something to Sebastian before midnight, and the mom talks about her son in a negative light every time she speaks about him. I agree. She says a lot of negative things about him. Now, these are all theories, everybody, but thank you for the super chat.
Clicker, which they did not. Do you lock your doors at night?
Yes, ma'am.
Could he have left on his own through those doors?
He could, yes, ma'am.
But I heard in another interview where Mr. Proudfoot said he was not a, quote, wanderer. He didn't wander around. He never left the home before on his own. Is that right?
Correct. We haven't had issues with him running or taking off in the past.
Okay, let me ask you a couple of questions regarding the doors.
What is
Do
he
you
for?
have any home surveillance, anything at all that would have given us an idea or a clue if the door had been opened or not, or a window?
Not directly from our house.
Well, then from where?
That's what we were.
Yeah, why is she answering it like that? It's like pulling teeth. It's like Nancy asks her a question and she only answers part of it, and she's making Nancy pull the questions or the answers out. But Nancy used to be a prosecutor, so guess what? She's going to get to the bottom of this. And CRS Krista 23, both of them remind me of my son when he came back from the military, non-specific and everything. Could be, but this is ridiculous. And it's like pulling teeth, everybody.
Hoping that neighborhood ring cameras and may have picked something up.
Gotcha. I want to go back to that night. You said you were up till midnight. You were reading something. What were you reading?
A chapter for school.
a chapter for school. Are you in school?
I was, yes, ma'am. I've since dropped my classes for the time.
What are you studying?
I don't know.
Business
Nothing.
administration.
Gotcha. Where do you go to school?
DeVry.
Is that a real school?
So that night
Sorry.
you go to bed at midnight after you've been talking to Mr. Proudfoot on the phone. You put the dogs away in a cage, a crate inside the home, and you go to bed. Did you check on Sebastian at that time?
I did not.
I
Okay.
love
Do
you,
you normally?
Nancy.
Not typically. Since he's gotten older, I've not been checking on him as frequently throughout the night because normally he's good to go in his room once he goes to bed.
Earlier, you had stated you heard a noise in his room before you went to bed. What time was that?
Around 10 o'clock.
10 p.m. What did it sound like?
Just a thud.
A thud. You stated that you said, look, I don't care what you're doing in there. Go to bed. Is that right?
I was on the couch, which is near his room, and I said, Bubba, did you fall out of the bed? And he said, no, ma'am. And I said, well, whatever you're doing in there, knock it off and go to sleep.
So you heard his voice at 10 p.m.
Yes, ma'am.
Do you have any idea what the sound actually was?
I do not know.
If he were to go out his window, what would he step on?
Mulch and bushes.
Did you say mulch or mush?
Mulch.
Sorry.
Mulch.
Mulch. Okay.
Sorry,
Got it.
guys.
Has he ever gone out the window before?
No, ma'am.
Is his room on the front of the house or the back of the house?
Front.
Front. Do any of your neighbors' ring cams point toward your house? Could they pick that up?
They do, but it's so dark that they can only see after it gets so dark at night, they can only see certain things where there's light.
I thought there were the two lights on.
On the opposite side of the house.
Okay. Can we talk about Sebastian's shoes? Why are you convinced Sebastian left without shoes on? Or are you?
Well, the reason that came about is because all of his shoes are accounted for inside the house still.
Do you hear how she answered that question? All she asked was about the shoes. Why is she convinced? And she goes, the reason that came about was because, well, no, just answer the reason. You don't need to say the reason that came about. My son left and all of his shoes were there. What do you mean? Why are you even asking me that? Let's find Sebastian. The reason that came about was because, well.
Are you positive?
I'm positive.
How do you know what clothes he was wearing?
The clothes that we described are the ones I saw him in when he went to bed.
That morning, you woke up at 6 o'clock. Is that the normal time you wake up?
Yes, ma'am.
Are you a heavy sleeper?
Off and on.
Off and
Do
on?
you take any medication at night that would make you sleep?
Yes or no?
No, ma'am.
But you heard nothing.
I did not know.
So we know he is alive and well at 10 p.m. At 6 a.m. He's gone. You say he's never left before. Is that right?
Correct. He's never run off before.
And could I confirm, where was his bio dad at the time he went missing?
I believe he was at work in Nashville.
Had there been any family argument or altercation prior to him going missing?
No, ma'am.
And Mr. Proudfoot, when did you leave town?
That's
early February.
I thought
so. You had been gone for days before he went missing. Is that correct?
Correct, ma'am.
Had you visited home since you left?
You said from when I initially left?
Yes.
Yes, ma'am. I came home February 26th. The morning I was told that he was missing.
From the time that you left for the job in Memphis to February 26th, did you visit the home?
Yes, ma'am.
When?
I was home. I can't give exact dates. Law enforcement has told me not to provide exact dates, but I had been home multiple times prior to February. And then I left early February and then didn't come back till February 26th, the morning he was missing.
So you were not home from the time you left early February till Feb 26. Is that right?
Correct, ma'am.
Where were you living in Memphis?
I have an RV trailer that I stay in at an RV park.
Where you are now?
RV park. Okay. Following back up on that morning, you searched the home as Proudfoot. Then you get in your vehicle and you start searching. Did Sebastian know how to drive?
No, ma'am.
Was your car in the same location when you woke up that morning as it was the night before?
Yes, ma'am.
Has your car been searched by police?
Multiple times. Yes, ma'am.
Have scent dogs looked at your car?
Yes, ma'am.
So your car's in the same place. You get in the car, you start looking in the neighborhood for him. Is that right?
Yes, ma'am.
Then you call Mr. Proudfoot, right?
I believe I was already on the phone with him at that point.
Okay. Question: who called 911?
I did.
You did.
Yes,
What
ma'am.
time?
Without looking at a call, I can give you the exact time, but on or about 6:20.
And had you guys been talking on the phone before 6 a.m. or did you initially call Mr. Proudfoot at the time you realized Sebastian was gone?
I called him when I realized Sebastian was gone.
Have you guys been out looking for Sebastian?
Yes,
Yes, ma'am.
But you're done?
Were given information that you guys have left the home. Is that true?
Yep.
Yes, ma'am.
Why?
I'm going back to work.
And you?
You're going back to work. What about you, Miss Proudfoot?
No, I'm not going back to work. Not
Yeah.
yet, at least.
Did you
Fired?
leave the home also, Miss Proudfoot?
Yes, ma'am.
Why?
To accompany my husband going back to work, and then I'm coming back.
Okay. When will you be back? Do you know yet?
No, not yet.
Are you concerned about being away while the search is ongoing?
Absolutely, I am.
Then why are you going?
Because my son could be anywhere, and we're looking everywhere and anywhere.
Worst answer.
I've got a question for you.
That was terrible, everybody. When I heard that, I knew I had to bring this case to you all and see what you thought about it. I had to sift through all this stuff and catch up, okay? And I also had to find the passion in this case and why I wanted to get the word out and what is going on with the Sebastian Rogers case. And then I found DD and I heard this and I said, something's wrong. Something's not right here. You don't do that. You don't just leave. And if she's not guilty and the parents aren't hiding something, something's wrong with this situation, period.
I want to find out about Mr. Proudfoot hitting Sebastian with a belt. What happened?
That was actually several years ago, and it
To
was
Mr. Proudfoot,
one-
to Mr. Proudfoot, to Mr. Proudfoot.
Yes,
Mr.
ma'am.
Proudfoot, what happened?
Oh, I'm sorry. I misunderstood. I thought you were asking Katie. Sebastian had gotten in trouble. He got caught lying. And I had asked him, I said, hey, you got to have a punishment for this. He says, yes, sir. And I said, okay. So I gave him a swat with a belt on his buttocks on the outside of his clothes, one swat.
That's not rehearsed at all, everybody. He hasn't said that 27 times in the same exact way. And I bet you she said it the same exact way every time, too. You got to make sure it was on the outside of the clothes because when we're spanking somebody, we do that, right? We stop and make sure their clothes are in the right position and then we spank them. This guy's full of shit, at least on this question.
What did he lie about?
Honestly, I don't remember at the time, but it was probably something dealing with school because that's majority where his issues lie.
Did he have other issues at school?
Some behavioral stuff, but nothing too crazy.
Watch his face.
What kind of behavioral stuff?
He has a hard time. He's awkwardly socially blending in with students, so it's a little. He's trying to figure out how to do it, but respecting people's space. He gets a little too close.
Look at his
and
face.
Kids don't really accept that too much, so it kind of causes an issue.
Disdain.
But he'll not stop, and he continues on. So then it causes an issue, and instead of being honest about it, he'll lie like, "No, I didn't." Okay, Sebastian.
Yeah, no, not good.
Was that the first time? Was that the first time you had ever hit him with a belt?
She should have let the mom talk. She was weighing in and she was starting to say something negative about what was going on. Let her talk. That's the only time that they've talked without being prompted. Let him talk about hitting the son and how bad he is, Nancy.
Yes, ma'am. The one and only time, actually.
Yeah, right.
When was this?
Years ago, ma'am.
Any idea how many? 3, 10, 1?
It probably at least 3 years ago.
I don't understand how that turned into a CPS or Child Protective Services complaint.
Did you guys know that?
How were they
That-
alerted
that-
that you hit him with a belt?
That did not turn into a CPS service call.
There were other CPS reports, right? Were they regarding your other child?
There is one in regards to my daughter that I know of out in New Mexico with my ex-wife and myself.
Send it.
What happened?
At the time, my ex-wife had fled to New Mexico with my daughter. We were going through a custody and a divorce case at that time. And at the time, when I'd call and try to check in on my daughter, I could never reach my ex-wife at that time. So a welfare check was requested. Law enforcement told me to call CPS if I had concerns. So I called CPS. Law enforcement did make a welfare call, and that was it.
Then how does that turn into a CPS complaint against you?
Yes. How?
I have no idea, ma'am. There's a lot of misinformation out there right now in regards to my
Yeah.
New Mexico case.
Right.
That actually has no relevance to the Sebastian case.
Here's
Then
a chance
was
for
there
your
even
name.
a CPS complaint against you in New Mexico?
Not that I am aware of. And my attorney and myself are well educated on my case, and there's nothing that we know of.
Was there a TRO taken out against you regarding
Yes, ma'am.
your daughter?
Not a TRO, but a TPO.
A temporary protective order. Why was that taken out?
So in regards to that case, my ex-wife had a TPO put against her in Tennessee at the time. When we went to court, that got dissolved. I was ordered to hand my daughter back over to my ex-wife at the time. She gets in a truck. She flees to New Mexico. 2 days later, she files one in retaliation.
Yeah, because you didn't do anything. Victim
Is it still in
blaming.
place?
No, ma'am, that was dropped within, I think, 2 weeks of it being put in place.
He's a cocky mofo, right? That guy's cocky. Have you noticed that he's been like chuckling the whole time and he laughs at the questions? He's very sure of himself, everybody. I'm not so sure that even if he didn't do anything, that he's not just, doing stuff to Sebastian that he shouldn't be. And he's happy that he's not there. So even if you guys think that he's innocent, he's a cocky mofo, everybody. And I bet you Sebastian has gotten quite a few spankings or whatever he called that, swats from this big guy.
I've got a question about the belt incident. You're telling me that was the only time that you ever hit Sebastian with a belt.
Yes, ma'am.
And you're also telling me that did not make it to CPS?
No, ma'am, that did not.
Question.
Yes, ma'am.
Regarding Fate's furniture.
Yes,
A few
ma'am.
days after Sebastian goes missing, did you replace furniture in Fate's room?
No, ma'am, I have not replaced any furniture in my daughter's room.
Is there any new furniture in the home?
Yes, ma'am, there's a bed that was given to me, and it's currently in my garage.
He always has an
Has
excuse.
anything been taken out of the home?
No, ma'am.
I was curious about a statement that Miss Proudfoot made earlier that canine dogs hit on the barn around the home and near a retention pond. Did that happen?
I'm not sure about the barn, but the retention pond, yes.
Because law enforcement says the dogs did not hit, but Miss
There's been
Proudfoot
a-
says they did hit around the retention pond.
So there's been a lot of miscommunication in regards to
Yeah,
what
I
is
bet.
and what is not. To help clear that up,
Please.
law enforcement has actually spoken directly with me, showed me a few things. What I can tell you is from day one, there was 5 dogs that started the scent for the search. And then after that, from the next 8 days out from that, there have been dogs from all over the country that have come in and done searches and had scent hits in various locations. But I would say a certain percentage of them tend to go toward the same spot, which would have been a retention pond.
So the law enforcement dogs did not hit on the retention pond. Is that what you're saying?
No, I'm saying they did. There was
He all of that to say that he did, and then he uses these all over the country and these big words, and then minimizing statements to minimize what he did. Do you notice that? And also, Sadie's mama, thank you. Nancy worked it out for Chris to come do a lie detector, and he failed to show last night. So it's nice to watch things from before and bring them to now, so you can see what happened in between. I always like a resolution as well.
at least 3 that I know for a fact that did hit on the retention pond.
And the pond has been drained, correct? And there was nothing there.
Yes, ma'am. They have walked it, drained it,
right?
And there's nothing. The retention pond was only knee deep, anyways.
On one occasion, Mr. Proudfoot, you stated that you and Mrs. Proudfoot have been, quote, vetted and cleared of foul play. That was stated on Chronicles of Olivia. Is that true? What do you mean by that?
Yes.
Yeah, tell
so
us.
After working with law enforcement of all agencies, they have actually told us that there is no foul play, no nefarious issues. We've been cleared of all wrongdoing. We are working extremely cooperative with all law enforcement agencies at any point in time that they've called, come to the house, anything.
Yeah, sure.
Was Sebastian angry or upset before he disappeared?
No, ma'am.
Not to my knowledge.
How does she say no?
What is your
How does she know?
theory about where is Sebastian?
Yes.
I wish I knew where he was, to be honest.
Your theory.
Yes, please.
I think it's possible that someone has my son.
Why?
Because I feel like if he had been close to the house or had walked off, that we would found him by now with as many people as we had searching.
Yeah.
Have you checked his social media?
He doesn't have social media.
Have you checked his phone?
His phone has been thoroughly checked. Yes, ma'am.
No
Have
phone?
you handed your phones to
No
police?
social
both of you?
media? What?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am, we have.
Has police searched all of your devices, your laptop, your iPad, everything?
Everything. Yes, ma'am.
Other than you, Miss Proudfoot, who is the last person that saw or heard Sebastian alive the Sunday before he went missing?
2 of his aunts, a cousin, and the staff where we had dinner.
And that was at BJ's the night before or the bowling alley?
So BJ's, and then we went to the bowling alley, and then after the bowling alley, we went to dinner before coming home.
I want to follow up again on the dogs hitting. Earlier, Ms. Proudfoot had stated the dogs hit around the house, the barn, and at the retention pond. Is that correct?
I don't know about the barn, but I do know that they did track to the pond. Yes.
Did the dogs also hit around the house?
Yes, ma'am.
On the outside of the house?
Yes, ma'am.
Were they scent dogs or cadaver dogs?
They brought in both cadaver and tracking dogs.
Which dog hit, a cadaver dog or a scent dog?
Scent dog.
It's all been scent dogs that have hit. The cadaver dogs have not hit on anything that we know of.
Yeah.
What do you believe Sebastian was wearing when he disappeared? And would that have been what he slept in?
Yes. So the clothes, the black sweatpants with the white stripes and the long sleeve black shirt, that is what he went to bed in. And the reason that I believe he was still wearing those clothes is because when we searched, I did not find those clothes in the house. So I have to assume that that's what he was still wearing.
I'm sorry, I couldn't hear you. Did you say that's what he wore when he went to bed?
Yeah, speak
Yes,
up.
ma'am.
Yes or no?
Joining us right now, in addition to Katie Proudfoot and Chris Proudfoot, the bio mom and stepdad of Sebastian, an all-star panel. First to Brian Trasher joining us, Vice President of the Cajun Navy, who has joined the search. Brian, thank you for being with us. Who asked you to join the search?
Just wait until we're done with this. We're going to hear the response from the dad, and he's losing patience real fast, like we all are. I'm losing my patience with these people.
Well, we had deployed a team up to Nashville, Tennessee last week in response to the missing college student, Riley Strain. And we stayed up there until he was found. While we were in the area, we had a lot of people reaching out to us on social media saying that there was a young boy who had been missing for several weeks that was only about 20 miles away from where we were. So we talked to a few people, got some information, and decided to deploy part of our team that was already up there to Sumner County to investigate and see what we could do to help out.
You went on your own. Were you asked to join?
We were asked to join. I'm not sure specifically who some of our people talk to, but we get requests all the time, and we'll reach out. We'll try to get either a family member or a close friend of the family, just so we know we're talking to people connected to the family. And somebody had reached out and asked us to join since we already had assets so close to Sumner County.
Tell me what you have been doing, Brian Trasher. Everyone with me, the VP of the Cajun Navy, who has joined in the search. You can find them at CajunNavyRelief.com. Brian, tell me what you guys have been doing.
Just real quick, the United Cajun Navy, we're the original group that everybody hears about. There's other groups that use the Cajun Navy name to try to fundraise off of our efforts. Cajun Navy Relief is not affiliated with us at all. We are www.unitedcajunnavy.org. We're the original. We're the real ones.
Awful audio.
Again, what exactly have you been doing on the search?
So we've had our own canine team who was already participating in the search for Riley Strain up there searching around. We've talked with the lead investigator with Tennessee Bureau of Investigation, Agent Simmons. We've talked a lot with him and trying to coordinate efforts, because we always try to coordinate with law enforcement, make sure we're not getting in the way, duplicating efforts, or putting out any.
You know what, Mr. Trasher, let me just cut the chase here. Isn't it true that this weekend, pursuant to your search, that cadaver dogs hit in an area that had been closed off because of a prior hurricane, and it is on federal property? Bones and other items were found at that time. I found that very odd, as it would relate to Sebastian. Even if it was Sebastian, his body would not have been skeletonized at this time. Can you tell me now that what was found over the weekend is not connected to Sebastian? Yes, no.
Thank you.
No.
Not connected to Sebastian.
That's correct. That hit was not connected to Sebastian.
Thank you.
Okay. Joining me also, in addition to Brian Trasher, who has been leading the Cajun Navy in its search for Sebastian. Hold on, Brian. Other than those hits, have there been any other dog hits in and around the home or elsewhere?
Not from our canine team.
I'm very concerned, Brian, as you can imagine, because LA law enforcement has stated there were no canine hits outside the home, which I find very, very disturbing. Because if he had gone outside, particularly barefoot, there would definitely have been a scent trail. Now, we're hearing from the Proudfoots that there was a hit around that retention pond. How far is that pond from your home, Mr. Proudfoot?
Less than probably half a mile if you walk the whole path.
Is it through wooded area? Would he have had to walk through the woods to get there?
No, ma'am. You can actually walk either the main road or the subdivision. So the construction site is a subdivision, new addition that's being built.
Yeah, yeah.
And they have a road that's going to be tied into our subdivision.
Where's
You could actually
Sebastian?
walk up that way, or you could walk to the main road and walk into it.
That's all we
Did
care
Sebastian
about.
ever sleepwalk?
No, ma'am.
So he would have had to leave the house undetected by Katie and walk all the way to that retention pond. Did the dogs follow the trail a half a mile?
Yes, ma'am.
They followed the trail all the way to that retention pond?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
That's very curious, as they are saying the dogs didn't pick anything up. Back to you, Brian Trasher. Did you guys search anywhere other than that federal property where the false positive was? Yes, no?
No.
Joining me is Courtney Lasky, high-profile behavior analyst, autism expert, chief clinical officer with Little Starts Therapy. Courtney, thank you for being.
Keep in mind, everybody, the reason she's bringing these people on here is because the Proudfoots, in my opinion, are minimizing a lot of things. They're also minimizing Sebastian's ability when they say he doesn't have internet and he has a phone but no internet. How do you have a phone nowadays with no internet? It just comes automatic. You hook it to Wi-Fi. I think he was smarter than that. The way they describe him, he sounds like a 4 or 5-year-old. I heard the dad say it. I've heard it. I keep hearing it. They're minimizing who he is as a person, and they minimize his capabilities. They're making it sound like he's this highly non-functioning autistic kid that didn't know anything. He either wandered off or someone came and kidnapped him. Now, why would in the world would they do that? And why would they target him? I mean, yeah, something's wrong here. And not just because Sebastian's missing, but something's off.
With us at this juncture, we know Sebastian to be most likely with people he doesn't know, if in fact he is still alive. How would that affect a young boy with autism?
It would affect him greatly. Based on the diagnosis of autism, we know that they typically have deficits with communication, social skills, and they display some rigid and repetitive behaviors. If, in fact, he is with someone else who does not know him well, that would be entirely out of his routine. He could be engaging in behaviors he hasn't engaged in before. He could be looking for an escape. He could be looking to get out of those aversive situations. We know that not every autistic individual will wander, but those who do wander, 36%, it's to get out of an aversive situation. It's to get away from something that's overwhelming or overstimulating to them.
Ms. Proudfoot, does he know your phone number? Can he call you if he could get access to a phone?
We have gone over my phone number. I don't know that in a high stress time he would remember it, but yes, I have taught him my phone number.
See?
Was he ever allowed to go visit friends' homes?
He didn't get invited, but had he been, yes, we have had play dates in the past.
Would he go there on foot?
No, ma'am.
Joining me now is Lauren Conlon, investigative journalist, host of The Out.
You see how they minimize their son? When you listen to the real dad next, we're going to listen to the bio dad, Seth Rogers, and how he talks about his son and how we all think that Sebastian is. They minimize it so much. My daughter knew my phone number when she was 3, and she's got it memorized with her eyes closed backwards, drunk off some candy. These people are crazy. The dad says a completely different story, the bio dad.
Outlier podcast, host of Corruption, What Happened to Grant Solomon, and you can find her at laurenconlon.com. Lauren, thank you so much for being with us. What can you tell me about that stretch of road, if anything, between Sebastian's home and that retention pond?
Well, look, Nancy, I mean, I think like everything else about this case, it is very confusing because the public hasn't heard much from the police. We haven't heard much from the Proudfoots, obviously, when it comes to that, or Seth Rogers. And now I'm learning a lot here as I hear Chris Proudfoot say, okay, we can't speak about this because of law enforcement. And now with the Cajun Navy coming in, I think a lot of us are very excited that they are going to basically canvass this road. And they are actually telling civilians to hang back. Nobody needs to search this anymore. You need to stop. You need to stop helping and let us work with law enforcement and take over. Now, I called the Sumner County Sheriff's Office yesterday because of all the misinformation going around. And I got to be honest with you, they didn't even know what was going on with this road, with the recreation search. They were either very elusive or they were very confused. But either way, it's very concerning because the people, as well as myself, I don't live in Tennessee. I cover a lot of Tennessee. We are very concerned for Sebastian. We are very concerned. And so,
okay, so let me just stop you right there, Ms. Conlon. Ms. Conlon, everyone is concerned, but let me remind everyone that law enforcement is under no duty at all to tell us or anybody else, including the Proudfoots, anything. They are not representing the Proudfoots. They are representing justice, and they will do what they have to do. The fact that they're not giving us a blow by blow is their business. Does it mean they're stymied? I don't know. Does it mean they know more than we think they do? I don't know the answer to that. But just because they're not releasing an ongoing investigative file is not a concern to me. At this juncture, I'm collecting facts in the best way I know how. Now, regarding that route from the Proudfoot home to the retention pond, is it your understanding, Lauren Conlon, that there?
She's losing patience too, everybody. She's scaring me. I had to lower it. Yes, let's get the answers out, Nancy. We know we're running out of time. You know what? We are running out of time, though. I'm not even kidding here. Sebastian's been missing for a month or over a month. We're running out of time. If he's been kidnapped, something's happened to him, unless somebody happened to want to kidnap a teenage boy that's on the autism spectrum, or that's autistic. I don't know what spectrum he's on, but that's autistic. And that gives their parents a hard time, which is what it sounds like the Proudfoots are saying. If he went missing and went to the woods, well, we ran out of time already. So Nancy's right. We're running out of time. And these parents are just going around telling all these different kind of things, not answering questions, right? Like, what's the deal here? We're running out of time.
Were no hits by scent or cadaver dogs along that route.
Correct, Nancy. It is my understanding there were no hits from the dogs.
It is very confusing. It's confusing. You know, sometimes, Lauren, when we try to put together a puzzle, but we're missing a few pieces and we don't know what piece we're missing, you can't put the puzzle together. We're missing things from this puzzle. And right now I'm on a fact-finding mission. I am pointing the finger at no one because I want to find Sebastian.
Right.
I'm going to go to Dr. Jory Crossan joining me. And guys, again, please, Proudfoots, Trasher, Lasky, Conlon, jump in if you have a thought or you want to contradict, because a lot of this is elusive. We don't know everything. To you, Dory Crossan, joining us, former law enforcement, now faculty, St. Leo University, very well known psychologist and author of Operation SOS. You can find him at drjory.com. Dr. Jory, thank you for being with us. Many people have made much of the fact that when interviewed, the Proudfoots do not look at the camera. They look away, they don't cry, and they don't seem upset. Now, that may or may not mean anything. People can be very upset, crying, screaming, cursing.
Yes, Nancy, we know. You're so loud. Even for me. Yes, Melly Michelle, this was last week. It's much worse now. We know that they found his glasses. If I'm wrong, correct me. They found his glasses. It's time is running out. If it hasn't already ran out, honestly, if somebody didn't kidnap Sebastian Rogers, we're looking for a body, everybody. We're just being real here. I like to keep it real with you all. And yes, it's much worse. We're getting into that next. What we're going to play next is going to be up to date from what happened last night. So we appreciate your comments and everything you're bringing to the channel. Crime Crew, keep chatting and let me know what you're thinking.
They may show no emotion at all. They may be numb by the time interviews are happening. I'm very different. When I talk about my fiance's murder or I talk about my dad's death, I still cry.
There you go. They weren't his glasses. So that's what I heard. They found his glasses. I hadn't seen the update. I did find the interview. Thank you, I Am Two Bear. They weren't his glasses. I stand corrected and I follow your lead in chat as we're doing things sometimes in real time as things pop up. So thank you for correcting that.
Even when I swear I'm not going to. But everyone reacts differently. I'm going to throw this directly to Mr. and Mrs. Proudfoot. Much has been made. I'll ask you. You very often look away, don't look at who's asking you questions, show no emotion. Much has been made of that. And I'd like to hear your response. I'm not judging one way or the other. I'd like to hear your response.
So the fact of not looking at the camera all the time is because a picture of my son is sitting beside me and I'm looking at him. As far as the crying thing, I have been crying off and on nonstop for a month.
Sure. Okay.
Many people have asked me, why did Miss Proudfoot not call 911 immediately? And here's your chance to answer that.
Because by the time I realized my son was missing and I called my husband, at that point I was hysterical. I was at the point where I couldn't even form words anymore, and my husband is the one who remained calm enough to call them.
What about
to be honest with you, Miss Grace, the way we live outside of city limits, so you don't call 911.
I hate when people say, and to be honest with you, if you want to know the truth, hey, believe me. I hate when people say that. I don't know if it's a flag or red flag or a deception. But I'm looking at this guy's face right now. He actually looks like he's angry. And when someone says to be honest with you, I feel like they're not being honest with you.
One, because you get routed to a dispatching hub who asks what's your location, and then they route you to another dispatcher to talk to give this story. I cut all of that out and I call it straight to the sheriff's department because they have jurisdiction of where we live. So sorry that I decided to bypass a few steps and go straight to the source where they responded within 10 minutes of the phone call being made.
Miss Proudfoot, that evening, were you drinking?
No, ma'am.
Had you used any type of drug at all, even OTC, over the counter?
No, ma'am.
And you had no argument with Sebastian that night?
No, ma'am.
You stated you put the dogs away into a crate before you went to bed. Is the crate located near the exit, near a door?
No, ma'am.
Thank you. I Am Two Bear.
Would the dogs have barked if there had been an intruder or if Sebastian had left?
The dogs don't typically bark at me and Sebastian because they're used to us. Even if we get up, we come around, they don't typically bark. Strangers, they do tend to bark, at least for a minute or two to get attention. But no, ma'am, they don't typically bark at Sebastian and myself or Christopher.
What kind of dogs are they?
Morkies.
Question, where is their crate located?
In the area near my sunroom.
So what she's saying is there was nobody else that came around to the outside that she heard. So the dogs didn't bark equals no other people from the outside, everybody. That's what Nancy's getting at. That's what we're hearing. Yes, her face is getting redder. Her cheeks are getting redder as we speak. Maybe she needs to hit that alcohol bottle. Who knows?
Over by the
In
kitchen.
your son's, okay, hold on. Is
No,
it
son,
outside
not
your
son.
son's room?
No, ma'am. Not
Sunroom.
Sebastian's room. Son. Yeah. Yes, ma'am.
The sunroom. And that's not near the door?
No, ma'am.
Not near the front door.
It's near my back door, but not any of the other doors.
Yes, from what I've seen the layout of the home, it is near the back door, and they would have heard someone coming in and out that back door, correct?
Exactly.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
No
So-
barking. Do you have a chime or anything on your doors that would alert you to the door opening?
No, ma'am.
So you're still going to go with that kidnapping theory? You want to recant that real quick, or are we still going?
Miss Grace, could I jump
Question.
in for something?
Yes, please. And I want to follow up with a question
Yes.
regarding Miss Proudfoot's polygraph. But please, Lauren, jump in. Everybody on the
Thank you.
panel. Now is the time to ask the Proudfoots any question that may shed light on what has happened to Sebastian. We are not in a judging arena. We are in a fact-finding arena.
You're scaring everybody, Nancy. I forgot that we even had a panel. Let them talk.
We can then assimilate the facts and make deductions. Please jump in. Lauren Conlon is
Yes.
joining me. You can find her at Lauren Emily Conlon. Go ahead.
Yes, thank you. And now this might be for Brian as well. Yesterday, when the dogs hit and everybody's going crazy, YouTubers, internet, TikTokers, and we figure out it's not Sebastian and police are not involved, the TBI is not involved. Did you call the Proudfoots and let them know that this was not Sebastian? Did you tell them ahead of time that you were searching these areas? Did they know what you were doing, or was it specifically just through Seth Rogers?
Yeah, so Seth Rogers is Sebastian's biological father, correct?
You suck. That guy
Yeah, so
sucks.
he was there, and as Ms. Grace alluded to earlier, it would not have been typical or possibly even probable that he could have skeletonized after only a few weeks. So I'm not sure about the Proudfoots, but his father definitely did know. Also wanted to echo what Miss Nancy said earlier about the police. One of the reasons we got called in, there was a lot of social media personalities reaching out to us, kind of complaining that they didn't feel like the police were doing enough. But really, it's just what Ms. Nancy said, is that they're not under obligation to give daily or every other day updates. They are doing an investigation. We have been in very close contact with TBI, and I can tell everybody with 100% certainty, they are on top of it. They are not letting their foot off the gas at all on the search for Sebastian or trying to find out what happened to him. The YouTubers and TikTokers that do live stream probably do the most harm. We appreciate the attention that they bring to things, but when you do a live stream, you don't have any control over what gets seen by potentially the entire world. So we would, we can't tell people what not to do. They have free speech. It's their own accounts they're using. Not helpful to do live streams during searches like that. If you want to do a video that you can potentially edit later, so that we cut down on the amount of misinformation. That's why social media is not necessarily our house. We go in and do search and rescue. You have to trust the process like we do. We trust law enforcement is going to have this wrapped up probably very soon.
Brian, however, I want to make sure that you are not encouraging citizen sleuths to stop looking, because I've had many cases where we put out the warning and they actually spot a missing person. I mean, I only have to point to Gabby Petito, whose remains were found in dispersed camping way out west by a citizen who had heard about the case. So, sometimes
I don't think Nancy likes this guy. She doesn't like his answers. We can't hear him. I think that's pissing her off because he sounds like he's underwater.
their information is wrong, but there is no way in HELL that I would ask them to stop. And I know that's not where you're headed. Yeah.
No, we don't want them to stop. Matter of fact, it was two citizen sleuths that found Riley String's bank card out by the bank of the Cumberland River in Nashville. So, like I said, they do provide a service. My only suggestion was maybe not doing live stream, maybe just video, and then you can edit and post later. Just a suggestion.
Hey guys, I don't want to see anything edited. I want to see the whole thing. No edits, no airbrushing, the real deal. But that's
Me
just
too.
me. I want to go back to
Yes.
Katie Proudfoot. This is Sebastian's biological mother, Miss Proudfoot. What questions were you asked during your polygraph?
I was asked if I knew where my son was. I was asked if I hurt him. I was asked if I had hurt someone, among a few other questions.
And Mr. Proudfoot, you have volunteered to take a poly.
Yes, ma'am.
If I were to set up a poly for you, would you take it?
Name the place and time, ma'am. I'll be there.
Nope, you didn't show up last night.
And you're headed back to Memphis right now. Are you in your RV right now?
I am in my RV. We are not disclosing our current location just because of safety reasons, due to the YouTubers, the Facebookers out there that have sent some very heinous, threatening information and things of that nature, threatening to be outside of our house, all kinds of nasty things. So we're not disclosing our location at this time, unless you're law
Ms.
enforcement.
Proudfoot, is
or
that
you need
one
to
of the reasons you left the home?
Shush.
One of them, yes, ma'am.
Yeah, right. Sure.
Question to you guys. When police came in and processed your home, did they look with, for instance, luminol? Did they check? What did they do when they searched your home?
They thoroughly searched my home with many different things. They removed some things for the dogs to hold the scent, and for Sebastian's DNA. I know that they used thermal
night
vision. Thank you.
What?
And
what are you
I
saying?
don't know exactly all of the tools that they use, but I do know that multiple different searches were done on my home.
She didn't say anything right now. Just if you didn't catch that, she said nothing. Her answer was nothing. Now let's go back and listen to what she's saying. She literally said nothing. I don't know what they did because she went in a circle and couldn't find her words.
By many different people, detectives, sheriffs,
what,
and a few others.
Yeah,
The
I'm
even
not
the
gonna,
dogs.
I wouldn't swear that the forensics folks showed up or not, because there were so many folks in and out of the house that it was just, hi, I'm so-and-so with law enforcement. I'm so-and-so with law enforcement. Okay.
Every time they've said we need to look, please do.
Does Sebastian have a hardwood floor or a carpeted floor?
In his bedroom,
Carpet.
Yes.
What?
Carpeting.
Carpet.
Did they remove any carpeting?
No, ma'am.
Do you feel confident they searched his bathroom?
They did.
Yes, ma'am, they did.
When you state that they removed items for the scent dogs, what did they take?
Clothing, a blanket that he used like every day, and a few other items of his, toiletries, like his brush.
DNA.
Lauren Collin joining us, investigative journalist. Lauren, again, thank you for being with us. And earlier you were hearing sound from WSMV4. I understand you have another question.
Oh, I mean, I guess I didn't quite get the clarity I wanted, in the sense that, did the Proudfoots know that this search was going on with the Cajun Navy? Were they being called? Were you guys being alerted about this? Did you hear from a YouTuber that they found something, that the cadaver dog, or I'm sorry, the search dog started jumping? Or, were you just kind of blind to all of this? Just, over in your corner doing your search.
Oh, you're blind.
No, ma'am. So here, to set that record straight and help the United Cajun Navy. So somebody's got a picture out there saying that we're enjoying a dinner when we're actually out there, got flyers at a dinner table because we need to eat.
Oh,
My
yeah.
wife was on the phone with the Cajun Navy. That's how the Cajun Navy was brought in. And we talked to the president of the United Cajun Navy.
The president.
He put us in touch with their team that was here locally in Nashville. Then that young lady reached back out to us, gave us some more information. We gave her some more details. Then they said they would start a search, but we also had them get in direct contact with the TBI agent, as well as Sumner County's Sheriff's Department. We provided all that information. They reached out to them, got some information. They pushed outside of the areas that had been searched already, conducted a search. Somehow or another, they linked up with the bio father, who supposedly got a tip from somewhere. Whether or not it was credible or not, we don't know. But it led them to searching on federal property without permission, which is where.
You like how he tries to use big words and make it sound more important what's going on? But ultimately, the big question is, where is Sebastian, Mr. Proudfoot? Where is your stepson? And where is your son, Mrs. Proudfoot, with your big words and your special fancy things that you think you're saying? You're not saying anything. We can read between the lines. You're talking about nothing.
Where we have been informed at some point that there was allegedly a hit on something, but turned out to be nothing, and they were asked to leave the property immediately, or the cops were going to be called because it was trespassing based off of a tip that the bio father received.
Yeah, to Brian Trasher, VP of Cajun Navy, let's clear it up. Isn't it true this is on federal property that had been closed off? It was a hurricane site earlier. It was also, yes, thank you. And it was also near railroad tracks, and some homeless people had been living there, and apparently one of them had died. And we believe that is what the dogs were hitting on. Is that correct?
Yeah, all the above is correct. And we did not gain access to the property. It had already been open when we got there. I'm not sure how entry was gained, but yeah, everything above it that you said was correct.
Yeah, make it quick.
Guys,
Wrap
the
it up.
search for Sebastian goes on. If you have information, if you know or think you know anything about this beautiful young autistic boy, please call TBI, Tennessee Bureau of Investigation, 800 TBI, fine, T Tennessee, B Bureau, I investigative. TBI fine, 1-800 TBI fine. That's 800-824-3463. Please join us in the search for Sebastian and lift up your prayers. This boy will be found. Goodbye,
Thank you,
friend.
Nancy.
Guys, thank you for watching.
All right, we're done with that. We love you, Nancy. There's some people that love you. There's some people that hate you. I personally love your passion, and I feel like when I'm 20 years older than I am now, I don't know how old you are, Nancy, but when I get to your age, I'm going to be even more pissed, and I'm not going to have patience for dumb people and dumb answers. So we wanted to speed that up and get the dumb out of the way. Now we're going to listen to the reaction, and we're going to finally be up to date on this case. After an hour and a half, didn't take too long, everybody, for me to catch up on this with you all. Let's listen to Sebastian Rogers' dad talk last night with Vinnie Politan, okay? We're listening to the dad.
They don't know. I want to bring in our special guest right off the top, Sebastian's dad, Seth Rogers, joining us tonight from Clarksville, Tennessee. Seth, thank you so much for joining us. I know this isn't easy. A lot of people are asking you for your time, so we do appreciate it. How are you doing? How are you holding up?
Delay?
Your feet.
Just looking for my son.
That's what you
Your
do
feet
say.
just froze up for a second. I'm so sorry, Seth. So we didn't hear. How are you holding up tonight?
I'm just looking for my son. There is no holding up. It's just moving forward. Move forward to the next location. Move forward to the next. Anything that I get, any type of lead, any type of anything. I mean, it's just every day holding on to hope.
What are your thoughts about the investigation and the status of the law enforcement investigation into the search for your son, where they're not ruling anything out, no evidence of foul play? Do you think that they have found anything so far in more than a month?
I'm not part of the investigation, and they don't have to let me know anything.
Right.
They don't let me know anything.
Fair enough.
I actually wish the parents would have said more of that than trying to act like they knew it all. Mr. Know-It-All, Proudfoot, acted like he knew the whole case inside and out. He was cleared, case done, move on. But where's Sebastian Rogers, Mr. Proudfoot?
Not letting you know anything is one part. The other part is you're his dad, right? So has that communication been enough to have you feel like, okay, I know and I trust that they're working this thing?
I'm in law enforcement myself, so I've got to trust the procedure. I got to trust that if everything is followed by the procedure and everybody's doing what they're supposed to do, that there will be a positive outcome and my son will be found. I don't understand. They haven't came up with anything, why they're not asking for higher powers to help.
Chris is the higher power. What do you mean?
From where? I want to go back to when you first found out, and this part isn't clear in my head. Where were you when you found out that Sebastian was missing, and who called you? What was that conversation like? And then sort of what happened next there?
Made it out to the parking garage. When I got in my vehicle, I saw I had a missed call and a text message. Christopher Proudfoot. Text message was a 911, so I called immediately. and he's the one that told me that Sebastian was missing.
And how much detail did he give you about what happened, and how would you describe that moment, that call?
Wasn't much detail except for Sebastian. Except for he said Katie woke up, Sebastian's missing. So I left the parking garage and headed straight to her house.
And how far are you from the house?
About 45 minutes from downtown correction center to their house in Henderson, Sumner County.
Okay, so now you respond. You're on that 45-minute ride there. Are you talking to anyone, or are you just pedal to the metal trying to get there?
No, I'm trying not to get a speeding ticket.
I get that, but I mean, are you just focused on getting there, or are you calling his mom to get more details?
No, I'm just focusing on traffic to get there as fast as possible.
So now when you got there, what happened at that moment? Like, did you have a conversation with his mom, and did you try to find out, like, well, what the situation was here?
When I got there, there was already law enforcement presence there. So I walked in and just started listening to what was going on.
And
I wanted to hear what was going on. So I got to hear her telling law enforcement asking questions, me listening to the questions.
Real talk here. This is a dad that wants his son back, and it's cutting through the bullshit.
And listening to the responses from his mother.
And what did you form any opinion based upon what you were hearing?
Knew my son was missing, and I just started watching body language, listening to words coming out. Did I form an opinion? Yeah.
Yes.
I formed an opinion.
Tell
I
us.
am only human.
And what was that opinion?
Tell us.
That once again, my son, something has happened to my son under her watch. And once again, she wasn't being an adult. She wasn't being a parent taking care of an autistic child.
Once again, this isn't the first time.
So as you're listening and watching her, now she was home. It was just Sebastian and his mom that were home at that time?
When I got, yes, because when I got there, it was just Katie, and I think Chris's mom was there, but it was just, when the incident happened, it was just Katie and Sebastian at the house, from my understanding.
That's what she says.
Now, I've got to imagine your mind is racing at the time you're hearing all this information. So as you're hearing the information from Katie, and from what you're telling me, it seems like you're a little upset in how things were handled. So what happened next? Where did you go? Where did she go? What did police do at that time? Because this is very early on, right? This is the morning of.
They started asking me questions on where I'd been. I told them I'd been at work since, I've been clocked in since before 7, but I'd been at work in the parking garage since about 6 o'clock the night before. And I told them they can call and verify where I've been at. And I just sat there and started listening.
That's how you do it.
Listening to everything that was being said.
Yes, brother.
Now, did you have any reason to believe that there were any problems in that home?
Tell us.
Katie was pretty adamant about having a good weekend, which meant my son wasn't misbehaving in her point of view.
That's what she always says.
So I'm trying to read between the lines here. Do you believe that she doesn't exercise enough patience with Sebastian, and that causes some problems in the home, or she doesn't approach her responsibilities as a parent appropriately? Like there's something off
Autistic
there?
children take a different. Well, autistic children take. It's a different aspect when you're a parent of an autistic child. You don't really get much freedom because you have to set a routine and you have to go abide by it. And when she's sitting there telling me she put him to bed at 9 o'clock the night before or 9:30 the night before, and that she heard him in there and told him to go to bed and things like that, it's like there's not much of a routine. And when there's no routine, then autistic children don't act the same way they're supposed to. When I've had him, there's a routine in my house when I have him. And he's a teenager. You're gonna listen, you're gonna hear some back talk probably. I mean, they're growing. They're going to rebel some way. They're teenagers, so you're going to listen to it. You're going to have to deal with it. But you still got to remember that you're a parent. And you have to adjust your lifestyle to be able to make sure that they can adjust and learn and still grow.
You notice that's what the mom didn't say at all. She didn't talk about Sebastian and his behavior other than him being bad, but she didn't talk about these kind of get down and personal with what's going on. I felt like all of her interviews were her trying to deflect and get the attention away from her being guilty of doing something. So he's being 110% real, everybody.
You can't do some of the things that I've seen her do in the past. So
the custody arrangement, it seems you both have custody and he'll spend time with you as well as with his mom. Were there any indication in your communications with Katie that like she didn't want custody, that she didn't want that responsibility, and there were problems and she was running into some rough waters? Anything like that?
Most of my discussions were actually taken care with Chris. And Sebastian was supposed to come live with me.
There you go.
Chris was working on Katie on getting her to agree to it. And all I wanted was my son to come live with me.
He was
I already
trying.
got him enrolled in school. I've had him enrolled in school. I got to find him.
Let's help everybody, please.
I want to put something up on the screen here. This is from the Sumner County Sheriff's Office. They made a Facebook post. Important announcement, attention everyone. We want to clarify that the eyeglasses recently found are not related to Sebastian Rogers. The search operation planned for today, which is like today, has been in the works for several days. We appreciate your cooperation, understanding. My understanding is that you and your team are the ones that found these glasses?
One of my teams. I have a group of volunteers that changes pretty much throughout the day, throughout the week. So whoever's off work that wants to come to help, they come to help. Then I separate everybody in teams and I ask them to go flyer this area or flyer that area.
And yet the mom is out in an RV with the stepdad, just living probably her best life. She doesn't have to worry about taking care of this kid. And this guy is really stressed and beat down, and he's managing search teams for his son.
And one of my volunteer groups found glasses. They contacted me because they couldn't get a hold of anybody they told me they couldn't get a hold of anybody at the sheriff's office. I turned around, I called my contact they were busy. I flagged down a deputy sheriff that I saw by our volunteer area and turned around and had him wait. And I told them to put on gloves, bag them, tag them, bring them back so I could give them to the deputy sheriff that was there so that we could fill out the evidence and have a chain of evidence.
And when you saw the glasses, do you agree with this, that they couldn't be Sebastian's?
They were very similar to Sebastian's. It's been a month and a half since I've seen my son. So, you know, it's a month and a half since I've seen his glasses. They looked really, really similar to the point that I didn't want to lose a chance that these might be evidence. So I gave them to the sheriff's department to log as evidence.
Good dad.
I want to play for you Katie, who spoke on YouTube to the Chronicles of Olivia, describing that morning and the night before. And I want to get your reaction to what she says happened in the house and where they were. Let's watch.
We went and picked up our niece. Yeah, I got a call and asked if I could go and pick her up, and I did. And so we went and did that. We went to BJ's. Had a good time there. He ate a colossal popcorn.
Breaking news, everybody. The dad got rid of his goatee. Anyway, this came out recently, and you guys can go over to the Chronicles of Olivia. She's very neutral in this case. She went over to their house, and they did a lot of, searching, but it was very light without any judgment on either side. So let's keep watching.
Came home to put groceries away because we got snacks because, he's 15 and snacks. We went to the bowling alley. And then from there, we went to dinner. Came home. He took out the trash because that's his chore. He takes the can to the end of the driveway.
This is the same video within a video. It is Chronicles of Olivia, and she was interviewing the parents. So it's the latest one, the latest interview from the Proudfoots, and it's coming from Chronicles of Olivia, who's a YouTuber. So no, it's the same video Vinny's playing. He's completely into YouTube nowadays, if you've seen his channel.
About 9 o'clock, told him to go to bed. And he'd come out of his room where he was playing, and he said, "All right, good night, Mama. Good night, puppies. Love you." And went to bed. He was doing something in his room because about an hour later I heard some noise, and I was like, "I don't care what you're doing in there, but go to sleep." And about midnight, I got up and I went to bed. And 6 o'clock, I went to wake him up for school Monday morning. And that's when he wasn't here.
Seth, you know Katie better than all of us, obviously. You know your son so well. Is there anything in that story that doesn't make sense to you?
A lot.
The inconsistencies, from what I've heard before, none of it makes sense. Things aren't, I'm not here to sling mud, but why is she asking Chris to verify what she did on Sunday when Chris wasn't
there on Sunday?
Here on Sunday.
That is such.
Or the fact that she said that she heard a thump on another interview and didn't bother to check on our son. There's a difference between some noise or a thump. I mean, just
right. Sounds like she's telling us part of
the
the
information that I received from watching any of their podcasts don't make sense.
Seth, please stay with us. I have a few more questions, and I want to make sure everyone, why we're doing this is because there is a boy who is missing. Here's a dad who needs your help, and Sebastian needs your help. So Seth is going to stay with us. We've got more with him, plus coming up in the next hour. In Bolingbrook, Illinois, a potential...
Nope. I'm not going to watch that.
Hollering his name, and I picked up the phone and I called my husband and I said, I can't find him. And he said, what do you mean? I said, he's not in this effing house. I can't find our son.
That's Katie Proudfoot describing what she says is the moment that she realized that her son, Sebastian Rogers, was missing. Sebastian's dad, Seth Rogers, is still with us tonight. Seth, again, thank you. What is the last verifiable proof of, I guess, proof of life is one way to put it. I hate to say it like that, but the last time that you can verify that someone outside of that home saw him or he was on video?
It would have been Sunday leaving Texas Roadhouse.
And what time was that about?
About 6:30.
And do you know everyone who was there at Roadhouse with Sebastian?
All I saw was as they left the building and got into Katie's car, it was just her and Sebastian.
And anything unusual about the video?
Not that I could observe from what little I saw.
And when they went to dinner and out that day, I think Katie's described being with other family members. Have any of them spoken to you? Have any of them joined in the searches?
No.
No?
No.
Poor guy.
How about the immediate neighborhood? Have all the homes been searched? Have the people in that immediate neighborhood all been cooperative?
From my understanding, a lot of them have cooperated with law enforcement, and that they've given up their video cameras footage to Sumner County sheriffs, and they've been pretty much cooperative with law enforcement.
How about
me personally? I haven't been in that neighborhood since the Wednesday afterwards. I've been around there. I've been to the beach high school, but as for going into that neighborhood, no. I've been next door to the construction area. I researched that. I searched it on the Tuesday after he left, and then I've been there a couple times to research it. I've been to Beach High School. Been over to the fire station when they had the EMA mobile command center there.
Do you think it's possible that he would, because you know your son, that he would leave in the middle of the night, potentially barefoot, maybe with a flashlight?
$1 million question.
It doesn't seem like my son at all.
Listen closely here, everybody.
He would never leave my house in the middle of the night barefoot. And if he did, he wouldn't. He wouldn't. You know, we've left in the middle of the night. There's been times that we've gone fishing in the middle of the night. You know, we plan that sort of stuff. But him walking out the door in the middle of the night, no. It's not something he would do. It's something he's never done on me.
Is there any chance, and I know there were rules in place, but is there any chance that he could have been lured by someone either from school or somewhere else to like, hey, you know, we're doing something at night, or we're going somewhere, or we're going to meet up? Is that, you think that's in the realm of possibilities?
I find that highly unlikely because my son doesn't really have a concept of days or how to, or time in order to plan something like that.
What do you mean? Could you explain that?
Well, trying to get him to wear a watch is already hard enough. You know, I've had him set timers on his phone so that he remembers that, hey, it's 7 o'clock at night. I need to take my medicine. I mean, he doesn't really have a concept of time except for, you know, he's got to, when he gets woken up in the morning at his mom's, normally around 6 o'clock, he's got an hour to get up, get ready, eat his food, and be out there to catch the bus between 7:10 and 7:20. Then he goes to school. He gets out of school at 3 o'clock, and I normally call him about 3:30. But when he's here and it's a weekend or something, you know, there's no time. You know, telling him at noon we're going to head out and go fishing, and I'll sit there and watch. And he's all interested in going fishing. I'll sit there, and then he'll be like, he'll walk up to me. It's like 1, 2 o'clock in the afternoon. He's like, I thought we were going fishing this morning. I was like, well, what time is it? And he'll run into the kitchen and look and be like, it's 2 o'clock. And it's like, oh, well, I thought we were going to do that this morning. And you needed to let me know when that was your thing. That's what I talked to you about. You know, let's get everything ready at 11 o'clock so we can go fishing. And you been playing with your toys, you know, playing on your video game, watching TV with me. And it was like, well, I didn't realize what time it was. And it's like, okay, well, you know, we were supposed to do that this morning. Let's go ahead and get it done now. You know, he didn't really have a concept at the time.
I want to take.
It's one of the reasons I wear a watch.
I want to take another listen to Katie and Chris from the Chronicles of Olivia here, talking more about Sebastian and get your reaction.
Sebastian hasn't been on his medication in 20 days. So he is rambunctious. He's going to be hungry. He turns into a bottomless pit. I mean, he's your teenage boy, you know, always hungry. On the spectrum, yes. But not one autistic child in this world is like another one. What we can tell you is he's smart.
Tell us about him.
Goofy. He kind of has issues with personal space. He hasn't mastered.
He can be
up in your face kind of kid.
he can be aggressive if he's upset.
Yeah. He's emotional. He's a teenager.
He doesn't like punch and hit and throw, but he gets really like aggressive stanced or like clipped where he just won't talk to you, or you know, if he's really upset, he like growls.
And the
Seth,
guy
what are your
laughed.
thoughts about what we just saw?
Did you see that?
They're describing my son when he was like 4 or 5.
Right.
He's different now.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Can you give us your routine now? I mean, I just get a sense that you're not sleeping much, that you are out searching, you're organizing, you're getting the word out. What is each day like for you? And what are your thoughts about where his mom is, Katie, which is not in town anymore?
Chris and Katie Proudfoot are they're adults. They're responsible for themselves. I'm Seth Rogers. I'm looking for my son, Sebastian Wayne Drake Rogers. I'm his dad. He's missing. I have to find him. It doesn't look like they're doing it, so I'll do it on my own if I have to. I'll ask for people to come help. If they don't, then I'll do it myself.
That's the right
I've
answer.
always been like that. You can't rely on people. Luckily enough, I'm finding people that I can rely on currently to help me find my son, and I appreciate everybody that is showing up. We've gotten people that have showed up from Ohio. We've gotten people that showed up from Missouri. We've got people that have come in from Florida. Everybody, we got people in the community that are showing up.
I have another video of him if you guys want to watch that next. It's what you guys are talking about in the comments. And I have that queued up to play. It's a TikToker. So if you guys want to watch that, it's not right on YouTube. And yes, thank you. My puppies are screaming at me right now. So if I hold one of them, then the other ones may stop. All right, let's keep going. I have more.
Upset and they're mad at how Chris and Katie are behaving in this. But they're human. I mean, none of us are without fault. Just, I would think that parents would and should act different.
Seth, thank you.
I'm going to find him.
I hear it in your voice. I see it in your eyes. Our thoughts, our prayers are with you and Sebastian. Obviously, we're going to keep his picture on the screen as much as we can, night after night. Thank you so much, Seth. Good luck in the search, and please try.
And on that note, you guys can see him right here, and it's cutting out, but you can call the information 615-451-3838. And I have another video if you guys want to watch it. My dog's name is Wesson. I named him after my Smith & Wesson, no joke. So he's a Yorkie. His name is Wes. We call him Wes for short, but his name is Smith & Wesson. My favorite tool, I'm going to call it. And thank you again, Krieg Santi, for the super chat. Did you see what the ATL, did you see what the hell, what that means? I'm not sure. If you ask me again, I can answer you. But we have another video if you want to watch it, because I want to keep you up to date. And it's from TikTok. Yes, his name is Wesson, everybody. Thought I'd bring a little love into this since I was getting a little sad. No, well, a lot sad for that poor defeated dad. We have another interview, and thank you, Sadie's mama, for sharing that with us, because TikTokers are now, coming onto YouTube. And so we're seeing TikTokers, YouTubers, and everybody in between. But it's on YouTube, and I just got it from Sadie's mama. So let's put that on. Yes, we love Mr. Wes. I have 3 dogs. There's 2 more in the background that are barking. I have a Yorkie, a Bichon, and a Maltipoo. So got lots of dogs. Let's put this on and thank Sadie's mama so we can see even more video. So what do you think, everybody? You think that the dad, Seth Rogers, thinks that the mom has something to do with it, even if it's just neglect? And that's not a just. Nowadays, cops are coming after parents and making them reliable for their children. What a concept. After that big Ethan Crumbley trial and the mass school shooting and the parents being convicted, that's going to happen more and more. So Jennifer Soto, guess what? We're coming after you right here. Jen Soto, we're coming after you. We're going to hold you accountable for Madeline Soto. You're accountable for all those years that Stephen Stearns was abusing your daughter. All right, let's watch this.
Any introduction, obviously, but before we get started on questions and things like that about Sebastian, who this is really about, is there anything that you want to say to the people before we start?
Thank you. Thank you, all those that are helping me find my son. Thank you for everybody who's showing up to search. Thank you, everybody who's putting out flyers, even where they live. Every little piece helps. I want my son's name and face plastered everywhere. And if somebody out there is watching this and you have my file, he's mine. I need you to just drop him off at an open gas station and tell him to go inside and tell him who he is
So
and
heartbreaking.
tell him to call 911.
Damn. So
Yeah,
hard.
Rebecca, one of the questions I was going to ask you later, but let's go ahead and get this one out of the way because it goes with what you're saying. Other than what you just said, is there any other message that you would like to convey to anyone who might have information about Sebastian's whereabouts? Anything that you want to say to them at all outside of what you just said?
Show up. They email me. There are people on Facebook that for all these sites send it to them. You know, there's Miss Terry Lynn. She has a podcast. She wants people to send her tips. If you're local and you have a tip, come by where we gather before we go out to search.
Volumes.
I live in Clarksville. You know, you'll find me. My truck's pretty easy to make. I mean,
this way.
There are people, even if you want to call where I work, call, and they probably won't like this, but call Davison Sheriff's.
There you go.
Davison County Sheriff's Department.
That's what you say.
Tell them that you have a tip. They'll get it to me. I'm pretty
Call my
sure.
job.
I've gotten a lot of support from Davison County.
Yeah, I'm positive they would get it to you. And at the same time, you know, if it comes up and you guys need to get a tip to somebody, you can reach out to me. You can reach out to Pascal. You can reach out to anybody that has anything. For me, out of all the cases that we've talked about, this one really hits me hard because I am local. I live in Sumner County. It is very, very close for me. This is my community. Sebastian is my neighbor. And even though you're in Clarksville, you are too, although getting from here to Clarksville, there's not a straight shot. But, you know, this is... Do what?
I said that's because of 24.
Yeah, I know that's because of 24. They could make a thing, but they haven't. But that's a different discussion on a different day. Like a bypass. But this is my community. And so what I want to say is they're...
Thank you all for still being here. We're sharing more information as much as we can. I apologize for not covering this case sooner. I really wanted to. I just needed to take some time, breathe, and figure out what angle I was going to come at and how I was going to tell this story, the interviews I was going to play, and what I felt about this case. I also have been covering Madeline Soto almost nonstop, and I work full-time and am a mother of 2. One is full grown. I have 3 dogs and a busy life. So anyway, trigger warning on this, and let's watch together. Thank you so much for being here. You can reach out to me if you have tips too. I'm working with somebody on the Madeline Soto case for the memorial and for the Madeline Soto Act. I'll tell you about that more tomorrow.
Out there searching every day. This is, you know, a lot of volunteers have come forward. They still need things, which we'll talk about more. But if you are local, if you are in the Nashville area, you can devote some time. You know, please, you know, come out and search. You know, drop off supplies. Are they still doing the supplies over by off Volunteer Drive?
No, we are at 127 River Road, Hendersonville, Tennessee. It's over by the Rudder, which is a restaurant on the water.
Yeah, Rudder's the south part of Hendersonville, guys. Pretty easy to find. So if is that was it where that place we were searching that one day where I met you out there where the building was? Okay, so yeah, you go down like you're going to the Rudder and you just don't quite go that far. And anyways, putting a GPS, but they need supplies. What do you need at this point from supply standpoint? Obviously, water, food, snacks.
Water is great, but we need eyes. We need people. We need people. We need people to come together as a community. This is a 15-year-old child that doesn't deserve what has happened to him to have happened to him.
Yeah, I agree with you. And he's a special needs child, which makes it that much more. And so, yeah, if you guys are out, I know that I know that this live was posted in a lot of Sebastian Rogers groups and a lot of local Hendersonville groups. If you are local, please find some time to come out and search. You know, it doesn't have to be a formal thing. You can come a little bit later. You can come a little bit earlier. You know, you can organize your own independent search. There are maps of where they've gone. You know, if you do live in the area, you know, and you have property, because with Hendersonville, as you know, Madison, Goodlettsville, Gallatin, there are some people that have pretty large plots of land. If you have one with anything on it, from water to, you know, wells.
I know everybody sees the difference by now. The dad is completely transparent. He's giving out freaking addresses online, on YouTube, on TikTok, and just completely transparent and saying, just bring my son back. Where the Proudfoots are saying, oh, I can't disclose that information. The police said that wouldn't be a good idea. Oh, I can't tell you what vehicle. It's my wife's work van, but yet my wife doesn't work for them anymore. Makes zero sense, everybody. Zero.
To caves, to any places where he could hide or be stashed. Please check. And like law enforcement said in the press conference yesterday, if you're afraid to go do it yourself, you don't want to do it by yourself, call them. They said that they will come out and help you search. So that being said, you know, let's start here, because this is about Sebastian, right? And we've had a lot of people ask a lot of things about Sebastian, but we don't know a lot about him. So if you don't mind, how would you describe him as a person, as your son? What are some of his passions, some of his interests?
Yeah, we don't know any of that from the parents.
Boy loves video games. Think it's more like a close toss-up between animals and video games. When it comes to animals, he loves cats. Like, the boy just loves cats. He loves cats. I mean, like, if he sees a stray cat, he's apt to walk up. Why is it running from me? Well, son, it's a cat. Trying to explain that to him, you know, and not. I mean, my son got bit in the face by a dog, and he had to have 7 stitches in his face, and he still isn't scared of dogs. I mean, he's not scared of anything. Except for, I guess, his stepfather.
You hear that, everybody?
That's fair.
Damn. He's getting real.
What are some of the memories, like your favorite memories that you have with him? What stands out to you as a dad? I know that you have a great relationship with your son. What are some of the things that you guys like to do together?
Damn, he's
Well, I think
calling him.
one of the favorite things that he likes to do with me is road trips. Me personally, I'm not a fan of road trips, because he were to drive. Okay, if he were to drive some, you know, that'd be great. But I can't even get him to sit behind the wheel in the vehicle stationary. But he likes to go on road trips with me. He likes it when I take him to go. I mean, he was born in Georgia. We moved to Kansas while his mother was at great mistakes. And then
It's nice to hear about him, everybody. We haven't heard much about the missing kid, Sebastian. And yes, we are failing our children nowadays. I feel like more and more it's happening. It's out there. People are just completely and utterly failing. So we're sharing this so that we can stay in the spotlight for Sebastian Rogers. If you're local, go do a search with them. Please bring them ice, whatever they need. This poor man, his heart's going to break when he finds that little boy. I hope he doesn't find them in the way that I think. Let's keep listening. Please like, share, and subscribe, and share this content so everyone can see what we're seeing.
She got stationed in San Diego. And so we drove to San Diego, and then she would leave on a deployment or a half a deployment.
This is
a
it.
third of a deployment. And we would leave the house. We'd pack everything that we were going to need into the car, and we would drive. We'd go see family. He has been coast to coast probably 6 times. I mean, boy loves road trips. To me, they're educational, because a road trip is never the same. You always can take a different route and see different things. And he loved it. He liked when Christmas came around or summer break. If I could get it off, road trip. We'd go down to Texas to see his grandma and his grandpa. You know, drive. There's multiple different ways to get there. Drive through Missouri into Oklahoma, stop and see friends on the way. I think that's one of his favorite things to do with me is road trips.
Poor Seth.
Because also at the end of road trips or in the middle of road trips, there's going to fish. When my mom and dad, his grandparents lived down in South Texas, we go down there and go fish in the Gulf of Mexico. Boy, loved that. I mean, there was nothing like going on the boat to go fishing.
Thank you. I
You
am
know, you
too,
got to
Bear.
see baby hammerhead sharks. One of the people caught one of those little 11-inch hammerhead shark, and he was like, "Dad, it's a shark," and I'm like,
Poor
"It
guy.
is. Can we keep it? No. Can we eat it? No, son. If for in order for it to be big enough to eat, it'd be big enough to eat you." Um, you know, so look at all the jellyfish and stuff that were in the water. I mean, he's inquisitive. He's always been inquisitive. He likes to ask the questions because he wants to know the answers. He wants to know more.
All the good things about him. Not that he's angry, not that he hurts his sibling, not the bad stuff, not that he grunts at you or whatever they said that was ridiculous and then laughed.
And more. And it's like, I'm a wealth of information, son. You want to know things? Ask me. You know, I like sharing my knowledge with him. He's my mini me.
Poor Seth.
What?
So bad.
What did he have a favorite place that he liked to go when you guys road tripped?
He'd like to go see his mom and my mom and dad. I mean, he liked.
So down
They
in
have.
Texas?
Yeah, he likes dogs, and they have dogs. They have a little Boston pit, and you know,
It's coming,
they like
everybody.
him. He liked them. He was so heartbreaking when one of them passed on. But you know, he enjoyed it. He enjoyed seeing family. He enjoyed the trip. He enjoyed the experience of it, I believe.
Yeah, sure. You're wearing, I see, I'm wearing green, you can barely tell, but the shirt that you're wearing, can you show people that for a second? So this shirt right here for Sebastian, you can get a shirt similar to, I think it's one similar to what you have on.
Do you
If
see
you see
it?
what I have scrolling down here at the bottom,
Take a look.
It's bonfire.com/Sebastian-Rogers. You can get one of those. And at the same time, I put Seth's Cash App up here. You can see it too. So if you want to donate to the cause to help with searches, look, guys, I'm going to tell you right now, this man has been out there every single day. He does not sleep. He does not eat. He's definitely not taking care of himself. And searches are expensive. He's not working right now because he's taking the time off to find his son. So if anybody has anything, if everybody between all the platforms that are streaming this right now went to that Cash App and donated just $1, it would make a tremendous difference for him.
Let's do it, everybody. What is his
There was something
Cash
that
App?
you said a little while ago.
Let's go.
And you know that we talked about this beforehand, and I don't want to talk too much about your ex and his stepfather. I want to keep that to a bare minimum because this is about you. This is about Sebastian and about you because you're the one that's out there every day doing things. But you had said a second ago that he was afraid of his stepdad. What has he conveyed to you or talked to you about that
Here
you
it
were
is.
able to talk about why he was afraid of him?
I found out afterwards. I mean, I found out after my son
Okay, so there's a trigger warning here. Everybody pay attention what he's going to talk about and say. We're finally hearing the truth. I also paused it on a part where it says Cash App. Please, if you can, donate. I'll put that down there. It's $TMB Fleming. I'm going to put it in my scrolling bar. So let's keep listening. Trigger warning again.
disappeared, that he was scared of his stepfather. I mean, I've seen some of the podcasts where he has used the belt. I mean, if you think about I've been to the school, I've talked to the principal, I've talked to his teachers, I've talked to the SRO, and everybody is like, he's a wonderful kid. You know, he's always happy here. He always wants to make sure, as the SRO told me, he saw him every day. And the SRO was like, it was the same thing every day with him. He would stop the SRO and be like, "How many tickets are you going to give the teacher today?" You know, and
It's
he would,
funny.
I like to think that he got that from me. I have a sense of humor.
You do have a sense of humor. Even through all this, you have a pretty damn good sense of humor, I think.
Well, there's been people that say that when my sense of humor is
Thank you.
gone, the world's probably going to end. But you know,
Yeah, he's got a sense of humor, and everybody at the school was like, they're wanting him to come back. It's not just me. I mean, he has touched the lives of a lot of people. He has brought joy, his smile. I mean, his behavior, his demeanor.
He's crying. Damn.
I'm sorry. I know it's
Very
it's
hard.
Take your time.
There's their Cash App down below. His Cash App. Donate and help.
Alive out there.
Yeah, I know you. Sorry, go ahead.
Just needs to be found. He needs to know that there are people in here, and I wish he would have told me. I wish he would have told me what was going on, because I wouldn't have let him go back there.
Absolutely. The
He might have
more
been afraid to tell you because of what might have happened to him if he did.
Right.
You know, this is a man. You know, well, I'm gonna table the comment I was about to make. Let me switch gears just a little bit, and I'm gonna ask you a question. And there's a reason. There's two reasons I'm asking you this question, and it's something that we've talked about. So, in a previous interview, not with you, it was asked what medications Sebastian was on. And I'm going to ask you that right now, not to be nosy, but so that people can know. And there's two parts to this question. What medications was he on? And what does it mean if he does not have them right now?
good question.
He was on some medication for impulse control, for ADHD. He wasn't on anything for his autism. And he had two different types of medication they was taking. And I want to say they just switched it. But I want to say it was like Guafaced or something that he was taking. And then he was taking another medication as well. And I can't remember the name of that. And they just put him on Risperidone, or however you want to pronounce it. Try to get him to sleep at night.
Oh no, everybody. He was taking sleeping
I didn't
medication.
have a problem with him sleeping here.
There could have
So
been
I never really understood that. I mean, I'm not a doctor, but he just turned around and they removed his tonsils because he had obstructive sleep apnea. So they were trying to get him to quote unquote sleep. But I remember as an infant, my son, and a newborn infant sleeps like 18 hours a day. My son slept maybe 4 hours. He's always been one that does not sleep.
That's a possibility too. As I'm listening to this, everybody, there's a lot of possibilities. But when you hear a mom say she heard a thud and then the kid went missing and that was it, kids don't disappear. When he starts talking about this medicine and sleeping medicine, there's another possibility. Maybe they gave him too much sleeping medication. We don't know. It's all speculation, but we just want Sebastian Rogers home. His dad is going to die searching for him. He looks like he's going to have a heart attack or he's on the brink of having a breakdown.
You know, that gets there's just medication doesn't always solve all the problems.
Of course not.
Sometimes I think parents use medication against their kids because they just don't want to deal with it.
They seem like those parents.
I only worked part-time until my divorce because I spent most of my time taking care of Sebastian.
Man, we wish we would have had him. Damn it.
He's not perfect. Nobody is.
Right, Davey.
But that doesn't mean he's a horrible person. It doesn't mean he was a horrible child.
He's a kid.
Had him set with a routine. I could get him to take a shower, eat, take a shower, lay down in bed, and he'd fall asleep in about an hour.
Yeah, those
at
are
the
kids.
most. And we're talking about at like 5, 6 years old. It was all about a routine. And
that's all kids, Seth.
There's
all kids.
as soon as we got it, as soon as she filed for a divorce, first thing she did was take him to get him medicated.
I'm sure.
Now, not only is the child going through a divorce, because the children suffer the most through a divorce, because at some point in time they're going to be asked to choose sides, and that is horrible to make a child choose between their mother and their father. I could never do that to my son. I
Bad
was
parents.
good with joint legal custody, because I believe that a child needs both his mother and his father.
Man.
But she started putting him on medication after medication. This isn't doing enough. This isn't doing what I'm wanting. He's not going to sleep. He's bouncing over. Well, take him out. Take him swimming.
Yes, everybody. What he's saying is real talk. 1010%. This is all kids. Okay. So let's keep listening. There's a lot in this interview, a lot of pieces he's telling us. And I knew I didn't like the mom for some reason, and definitely that cocky dad. Even if they're not involved, I feel like they just weren't good parents or a good fit for Sebastian Rogers. And they should have I wish the dad would have got him sooner. I hope they bring him home, man.
Take him to the park and let him play. He's a child. He's got to have a way to get rid of all this energy. You can't just, go to work and then come home and expect him to, do what you want him to do. He's got to have an outlet for this stuff.
Every
He's
kid.
growing. And medication isn't always,
Poor guy, man.
It was just an uphill struggle.
Damn.
So with medication, I want to say this too, with what you're talking.
He's finally talking, everybody. I feel like more and more time that passes, he's just losing control and he's letting things go and he's telling everybody what they should have known from the beginning. And I wish that we would have heard this from the beginning so we can be further on in this investigation. I wonder if he told the cops all of this, but I feel like he's breaking down and just letting us all know that he has nothing to lose.
I get that. I am very ADHD, and a lot of the medications that they can put you on for that will really just make you an absolute zombie. No personality. It kills who they are as a person until they're off of it.
Agreed.
Obviously. Now it was report. Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
Look how happy he is with his snake.
And I'm putting the pictures up because I want people to be able to see what he looks like, because the more pictures, the better. So if you see him somewhere, you can recognize him. You get a lot of different ones. So, he's a cute kid. He seems like a sweet kid. And no kid is perfect, right? Like none of them are. But that's what you're there as a parent for, is to help them, get there and grow into that adult. I want to ask about the glasses. Well, a couple things. One of them I'm going to clarify for anybody who's watching now. Glasses were found during the search for him, and I think it's safe to say now that you were the one that found them. Correct?
One of my search teams. I wasn't the actual person to find him. It was one of my volunteer search groups.
Okay. If I understand correct, sorry.
Go ahead.
And my understanding is those glasses were not his. Is that what they determined?
That's what everybody knew that off of the internet before I did. So, yeah.
Okay. There was originally reported that he did not have his glasses. Do you know is that a true statement? Is he without them?
My understanding, he has his glasses.
Okay.
That's why when they said they found a pair of glasses and they sent me a picture of them, I was like, that is too close for me to tell. Go ahead. And they told me that nobody was picking up the phone. And so I reached out. I wasn't able to get a hold of anybody, so I flagged down a deputy sheriff and kept him at the volunteer place. and I told them to bring it on. Told them put on gloves, take pictures around them, how they're laying, so on. Take pictures and put on a pair of gloves and bag them and bring them in. Do not touch them. Don't get any DNA transfer or anything like that. And they did. They brought them in so that we could have an exchange and we could have a chain of evidence.
There was something that you said earlier that you were talking about, and I kind of want to, and you and I talked about this a little bit on the phone, and I, like I said, we don't want to talk too much about, your ex and that side of this. But there is something that I did want to bring up because information about you and your divorce with Katie was leaked.
Trigger
some
warning.
of the stuff has taken the internet to put a lot of accusations against you, and you and I have told the story, or told me the story of what happened, and I want you to kind of share what you're comfortable sharing. But what I found that
Right. Trigger warning. I haven't watched this, so be careful. My screen's freezing up a little. I'm going to keep playing it.
was kind of odd between the accusations that are being thrown out about you through your divorce is that those stories are oddly similar, very similar, in fact, to the stories told by Chris when he was basically bragging about the way he treated Sebastian, the way that Nina Gomez, her children were treated and she was treated. It's oddly like it almost mirrors it.
Sorry, everybody.
Once I ended up, when she filed for a divorce, me being the person I am, I was like, okay, well, grab a legal pad and let's go ahead and do a divorce.
I'm back, everybody. You should be able to hear me. Sorry, everything froze up.
We'll go ahead and split all the furniture and whatnot. What do you want? Obviously, things of that sort. And I was like, when it comes down to Sebastian, all I want is 50-50. He's my son. You're his mom. So. And when that part came up, she went and got an attorney. And the next thing I know, I'm being issued a restraining order for domestic violence and a move out order so that I would no longer have a place to stay.
You notice we didn't hear any of this before, nor did we hear any of this from the Proudfoots. I hate saying that name.
As well. Initially I thought it was her that I was being accused of being violent against. She told them that I had an arsenal. They showed up with like 20 sheriffs in SWAT gear,
damn,
armed with assault rifles, fully automatic in California. They walked up. I looked at the lady and I was like, you're coming in here. Who are y'all here for? Because I was outside with my son and he was playing with the neighbor's kid. And we're sitting there, drinking coffee, shooting the shit, watching our kids play when they rolled up. And when they rolled up, he looked at me. He was like, I wonder who they're here for this time. And I was like, one day they're going to be here for me because Katie's going to call them on me. And that was the time that they were there for me. They rolled up. The lady that was in charge, she told me that why I was here, why they were there. And I was like, okay. I looked at her and I was like, you don't remember me, do you? And the lady looked at me. She was like, no. And I was like, I'm the father of the autistic special needs child. And she was like, oh, I remember you. And turned around and told all the deputies there that they needed to stand down. I'd comply with whatever was asked. And they were like, they stood down. There was no need for it all that.
He's spilling all the tea right now, and this is what we need to hear. Please share this when we're done with this video, everybody. I didn't see this. Sadie's mama shared it, but please, let's get this out there so we can get further along and we can hear the real deal that's going on here.
But you know, that time I was before she did this, I was an armed security officer, worked in military housing, and they were like, "We hear you have firearms inside." I was like, "Yeah, I have my pistol that I use when I'm at work, and then I have the other pistol that is used for work, because work issues your own pistol." And then I had my own, and they're like, "Where are they?" And I told them they were on my desk. And they were like, "But you have a child. Why do you have them on your desk?" I was like, "They're on my desk. You can go get them."
Real talk.
30 minutes later, they asked me to come and point out where they were on my desk. And I walked in and I showed them the secret little pop so that they would drop down so you could actually get them. And they took those, and I still never got my firearms back.
There
That's
you go,
California.
Seth. Yeah,
But
California.
that was it. So I was hit with this. I turned around. I was living in my car trying to make
Yes. Very
ends meet,
desperate.
trying to make sure I had money to feed myself, which was, yeah, it was kind of hard to actually get employment because I didn't even have a residence or an address anymore. Dealing with the court issue, finally turned around, and her attorney kept pushing and pushing, and the judge at one point in time just turned around and told both me and Katie that we needed to be adults and remember that we're parents for Sebastian, and told us to go in the hallway and do a parenting plan,
Right.
and dismissed everything. CPS had done their investigation. Finally, CPS never contacted me. One day I went by there just out of the whim. It was the last day they were closing the case, and they informed me they've been trying to get a hold of me for the whole time. And I was like, "Well, my number hasn't changed in years, like 12." And they're like, "Well, nobody had your information." And I was like, "Well, his mother
Huh.
did." And she didn't even bother to give him that.
Yeah, I was going to say they've been talking to the stepdad, everybody, a potential suspect. Right now, they're not ruled out. That's a bunch of bullshit. But they're calling the stepdad and not this man who is a loving father that wants his son back. Very disgusted by this.
They turned around and they were like, "Well, we can't find any evidence of any abuse." And so they submitted that to the court. The court dismissed everything.
And now, look at what happened.
So one
He's
thing, hold
missing.
on, let me try to get this
Damn.
better so we're even size. There we go. One thing that I want to say to the people with this is, oftentimes you want to make sure that you believe victims 98% of the time when they accuse somebody of something, but there are situations where you can tell that things aren't truthful. I will tell you that I have talked to Seth at length about some of this stuff, and I truly, and I would say this even if he wasn't here, believe him.
Us too, everybody.
Because I think there's a couple reasons why. So you can tell the way that he shares his story, and you can also tell in his actions, which is the fact that he is out there literally every single day.
Right.
The other thing that I want to share with you guys from just a real quick personal note is that there are women like that who will use their children, fathers too, but there are women out there who will use their children as pawns, as control in a divorce situation. My mom was one of those. She had my dad arrested in front of me multiple times by violating some BS contempt of court thing. It just sometimes happens. And I think that that's what he got caught up in. And I truly do believe that, because this is a man who has been like y'all every single day, and nobody has a bad thing to say about him. So I just wanted to clear that up, because I know that there's been, the internet guys can be cruel. Y'all know that. And so I wanted him to kind of clear some of that stuff up. There are some questions that have come in. I want to ask you real quick for the people who are wanting me to share a couple things with you before we kind of go on. So the first one is,
Yeah, before we get onto his questions, I feel like, and everybody can see this, the parents, and now he's confirming that the Proudfoots are deflecting. They're deflecting all the information, and they're also reflecting what they're doing onto him. This is really bad, everybody. It's deeper than we think or we thought, than I thought.
So how is he with strangers? Do you think that he would just leave with one if one approached him?
Just no. I don't think he would leave with one because he's apprehensive. I mean, taught him to be aware of your surroundings is what I was teaching him. But I've also taught him that not everybody is your friend. And I had to do that. There was an incident in California before.
Let me hold on. I did that on purpose, everybody.
I know that there's been the
There.
internet guys can be cruel. Y'all know that.
I
So
should
wanted
play
to
it
kind of
better
clear
now.
some of that stuff up. There are some questions that have come in. I want to ask you real quick.
Let me go a little farther.
There's a 5-year difference. That's a pretty big difference. You're 13, and my son, you're a teenager. My son is not a teenager. He's still playing with Hot Wheels and Legos, and he's building things. He's playing video games, and you're a teenager. You go out and you have your own, age appropriate group that you play with, and they were letting this kid play with my son, and they weren't checking on him, and then this kid took my son's innocence and he molested him.
Damn. Yeah, trigger warning for me too. Trigger warning for you. I'm sorry, Seth. We didn't know any of this. I didn't.
And there was nothing I could do in California because the kid was 13. But they let that happen. And they didn't bother to try to even get my son help until last year. Here, my son has just turned 15 in December. It means he's been dealing with an emotional, stressful, traumatic incident for the last 7 years. And I've been trying to help him. I've been trying to get him help. Going to talk to his doctor and telling them what happened. And for the doctor to tell me, she was like, I knew none of this stuff. And I'm like, really? Because he's supposed to be seeing a therapist for this. And she's like, well, he's not seeing the right type of therapist for this type of trauma.
Dang,
Care about my
everybody.
son.
That's bad. We know you do, Seth.
And actions speak so much louder than words. And there's just no justification for the actions that I have seen from them. They're not parents. They're not parents at all.
For all you naysayers coming
And I
from
want to know what happened to my son.
we all do, Seth. We're here for you, man.
You deserve to know what happened to your son. Every bit. And I'm sorry, I don't think any of us were aware of that. And I am so sorry that, number one, that he went through that, and two, that as a parent, you're going through a parent's worst nightmare, but that's like the second worst nightmare.
My son around his daughter.
Yeah, that is.
Because Chris has turned around into my mother told my mom, your grandson's a pedophile. No, he's not. He's a victim that hasn't got the help that he deserves and that he needs so that he can get over the traumatic incident that has happened to him.
Absolutely.
That should have never happened underneath their watch to begin with.
Now
That's
we know.
why Chris doesn't want my son around his daughter. Because he's scared that my son is going to do the same thing that was done to him under his watch.
You all heard it, everybody.
And Chris Proudfoot, if you're listening to this,
Share
you can't
this.
hold that over my head. I told you. You're going to piss me the fuck off, and I don't give a fuck who knows. It's your fault. It's your and your wife's fault.
Damn.
You guys don't deserve to be around kids.
Yeah, he's.
I don't know if you listened to it, but I know that you're aware of Nina Gomez's video, and I'm going to say this based on what I've heard and having dealt. So my account started off as toxic and narcissistic behavior because of the type of parent that I had. He doesn't even want his own daughter. It's what I heard, and it's just all about control. and it's about control with Sebastian. That was pretty clear because as I had a lot of step parents, more than I want to admit, and most of them would have never disciplined me without talking to to a biological parent. They sure as hell wouldn't have hit me. So it's for him. I think it really is control, and maybe I shouldn't be saying that, but I'm kind of like I'm with you at this point. Kind of
Yeah,
like, fuck
me
it.
too. There you go.
Because everything that has come out, every word that has come out of his mouth, he double talks. He talks out of both sides of his mouth. He can't keep his story straight in one single interview.
For all the naysayers, listen up here. Seth Rogers is telling his side of the story, and we've got Justin on TikTok, and all of our crime crew here is with these guys. With our heart goes out to you, Seth Rogers. My deepest, I don't even want to say condolences. I don't know where Sebastian is, but we want to bring him home no matter how. Damn, this is rough.
So I'm fully with you, and I feel that most people who have seen this going down, have seen everything that's happened, watching it because this case has become incredibly public, are on your side with it. We all feel the same way about them because the way, I'm just going to say it.
Yes, we
You're
do.
out there every day looking. I've said that a million times, and the only reason you're not out looking for your kid is you're not looking for something that's lost is because it's not lost to you. You know right where it is. You know right where he is.
Thank you, Justin.
And that's why.
Damn.
In my opinion, I think I told you that too on the phone. So every day you're out there busting your ass. And I'm going to tell you, he hurt himself. So like when you see the way he stands and stuff like that, this man is in pain. Like he's got the massager right now. I don't think there's better timing for me to bring this up. This man is constantly in pain. He doesn't sleep. He maybe gets 30 minutes to an hour a night, tirelessly, while the others were literally, I'm just going to say this because I'm pissed off because again, like I said, this is my community.
Chilling in an RV.
They were at the Cracker Barrel 5 minutes from my house on Easter, and then they left town again. They haven't been seen.
Yep, they're hiding out, man.
And I just don't understand that. The last time you saw shit like that was with Chris and Roberta Laundrie.
Just say it,
So I'm just saying.
Justin. Yeah, we're with you.
I want to kind of go on to something a little bit different because I know that it's taking a massive emotional toll on you. So
On all of us.
Going to the search, can you take us back to the moments leading up to Sebastian's disappearance and what was happening during your lives at that time?
Here you go.
Which led him to whatever you believe, whatever you know, whatever you're able to share, what was going on at that time for him to disappear.
I talked to him on Thursday. Everything seemed to be normal. I mean, sorry, it hurts.
I know, it's okay. I know you're hurt emotionally and physically at this point. And if you don't want to answer anything, if something's getting too much for you, you don't have to answer it.
I'm just trying to focus. So
They have been seen. They've been seen and they can't hide, everybody. So if you see the Proudfoots out there and you see them on another interview, ask them where Sebastian Rogers is. Ask them about these accusations that Seth is saying, and let's see how they answer that, okay? We're coming up on 3 hours and I'm still here with you. I feel like I haven't done my part as a content creator and trying to help missing children come home. I haven't done my part on this case, and so I'm here to try to do my part and make up for it. But Madeline Soto has been time consuming as well. So let's bring this guy home because he still has hope. Madeline Soto, rest in peace. We know what happened. We just need to get convictions.
I can answer the questions. That's all. Pain is a overwhelming distraction at times. Sebastian was going to school. Whole point of him finishing his first year was he was supposed to come live with me. We were supposed to do a swap where she would have him every other weekend and he would be living with me, going to school. And if she wanted him on his breaks, then she would be able to have him on the breaks. If not, then he would stay with me. I mean, I wanted full custody of my son since the divorce, but I didn't. I don't believe it's my right to take a child's mother away. That's something that the child would debate or would decide at a later point in time.
What a
The
good
only thing I
dad.
wanted to do was protect him. And
What a parent's supposed to do, everybody. My mother did. Thank you, Mom.
Respectfully, not every person who is a mother is a good mother or deserves to be.
My mother is. Thank you. If you're on here, Mom, thank you for protecting
makes
me.
me feel like shit.
You didn't do anything wrong. You're
No,
still
you
not
didn't.
doing anything wrong.
Poor Seth,
Could have done
man.
things different.
You couldn't have
Would have
known.
been in that situation.
Damn.
I know that me saying this isn't going to help you from beating yourself up. You're going to do that regardless. But look at the situation that you've been dealing with. It's not, you're going up against two people who are constantly battling you in every bit with your son. It's the same thing that Nina was talking about. They battle every step of the way because it's about control. It has nothing to do with love of the children. It has to do with control. That's what it is. So how do I put it? Yes, you married her. Yes, you've been having this co-parenting situation for a long time. I have talked to you enough, and I've seen you talk in other interviews enough to know that you are not like that. And when you have somebody who is not like that, it's hard sometimes to grasp the full spectrum of what you're really dealing with. And so you can sit there and beat yourself up and say, I could have done this, I should have done this, but you don't know what you don't know. And I don't think you truly know what you're dealing with.
None of us
have been
do.
dealing with.
Not yet.
Just makes me look for him harder. It just makes me want to find him faster.
We all do, Seth.
In your opinion, and again, this is one of those that I know with an investigation, you can be very limited. So if you can't answer, just say you can't answer. And if you don't want to, I don't want to take too much of a toll on you. But in your opinion, what do you think might have happened to Sebastian? Do you have any theories or suspicions about his disappearance?
Here we go.
That you're comfortable sharing. If not, that's okay.
Let's listen.
I'll let you know. I have theories and suspicions all day long.
Tell us.
All day long, but they're suspicions. Can't really back it up because I'm not in charge of the investigation. But it don't make sense. If there's no scent of him leaving the house on a weekend that was 70, 75 degrees.
You all said
then
this.
He didn't walk away from the house.
I think that it's very, I'm just going to say it.
You
I think it's
say
very
it.
obvious he didn't just walk away from the house.
Right.
If the story that's being painted or told to us is true, and he went out there barefoot, then there is no way that those bloodhounds would not have picked up a scent leaving
Right.
that property somewhere, and they didn't.
But
So there's no way that he.
Been something. There's concrete. You lose skin cells all the time. You're barefoot. Even if you got socks on, you're going to lose particles. It's just none of this makes sense. None of this makes.
This is heartbreaking that we're even talking about this because that means that he's no longer alive. And I agree, Linda, they need to do more searching and they need to not. Maybe they're telling the parents that they're cleared because they want to get them in a trap, but maybe he was gone the day before and then she called it in after they got rid of the body. We're speculating, but the dad is too.
The only thing that would make sense for the dogs not to get a scent is that if he left that house in a vehicle and didn't walk off like they said, that's the only thing that could make sense. That's the only reason why a dog would not have picked up a scent. Any of the dogs that came out would not have picked up a scent.
Absolutely.
No cameras picked him up. And there in 2024, people, you don't just vanish.
You don't ever just vanish.
In 2024, I'll walk outside right now and you look around and people have at least their porch light on, something that makes it obvious so that if you're walking around the house, they can see. Nobody has their yard and their house all blacked out.
Right.
So that cameras can't see shit unless you're fucking hiding something.
Well said. Very well said.
I would agree. But even in the dark, a lot of these cameras can still pick up.
Yeah,
Well,
true. But not with lights.
I am law enforcement, and I'm not trying to sit there and point fingers. But you think for 1 second that the people that lived there did not know where people's cameras were at?
They know.
Yeah, they do.
And you don't have to say anything to what I'm going to say, but I find it odd that she works for ADT and there's no security.
She works for home security.
You all
Or
said that.
Brinks. Okay, somebody said ADT. I thought it was Brinks, but okay, Brinks. But so same thing though. You work with them, you get free security systems, or at least discounted. So I find that I just have found that very, I'll just say odd, is what I'll say.
And she won't even say
weird,
unusual. Yeah, it's strange. So you for a month you probably know every inch of Hendersonville about now, and some other areas: Natchez Trace Park, Goodlettsville, Madison, Gallatin, probably Clarksville. And that being said, can you walk us through the efforts that you've made in your search for Sebastian since he went missing, and what has that process been like for you?
Tolling. I have been to Drake's Creek Park. I have been across from there. I've walked through water clear up to my ankles, well, to my calves. I had water up to my ankles in my boots. My parents have helped me search, and this was just the first week. I've been up and down Happy Hollow, Muddy Hollow, Tear Branch. I've been to the tallest point in Hendersonville. Didn't know that until I spoke to the gentleman that has a house up there.
What's the tallest point in Hendersonville?
There is a road that comes off of, what is it? It's New Long Hollow Pike goes this way. It's the road right next to the high school.
Oh, I know where you're talking about. Okay, I was just curious because I didn't know that was the tallest point in Hendersonville.
It's not, but if you go up, you make the first left on there. I'm sorry. And you take that around, it actually goes all the way up to the tallest point in Hendersonville. At least that's what the gentleman told me that was outside of his house. He was there waiting on his wife to come back because he had locked himself out of the house. But he told me that he had been following it, and he had been looking around, and I think that was on the Wednesday after he went missing. But I lost my voice the first week, just driving around screaming my son's name. If he was in that area, he would have heard me.
Now, we started out this show with the parents talking, and then into Nancy, and then we're ending on this note. He's out there busting his ass and killing himself looking for his son, and they're sitting in an RV out of town because they say Sebastian can be anywhere. Well, they know where Sebastian is, and that's why they're not looking. There's such a finality to it, everybody.
I have a pretty loud voice.
Damn.
And then going back to everything, because now we're starting to research every place that we've been, because I think he's alive, and I think somebody has him, and I think they're moving him around. Trying to stay away from wherever I'm searching. See how I've got people that want to follow me around, follow my volunteers around. They want to go in there a couple days after we've been there. We've gone back to places that we've put out flyers 3 days later, and there's no flyers there anymore. They're literally ripping our flyers down and getting rid of them.
Damn.
Somebody doesn't want me to find my son.
We know who.
It's not motivation to make me stop. You guys, you can't threaten me and make me stop. You might be able to stop volunteers from showing up because you're threatening people. But this is my heart that's out here missing, and I have to find it. I have to find the rest of me.
Let's help
You guys ain't gonna
everybody.
make me
Let's help.
The other thing, so there are people that have been following him, that have been trying to interfere with the search, and the level of audacity. He is a corrections officer who works, in a prison with some of the worst of the worst. You're not going to intimidate this man. You're not.
Thank you, Rana. Thank you.
Support. Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
I was going to say, I do work with maximum security, but I guess some of them are the worst of the worst, but they're still human. They're still human too. They're there to pay for their crime that they've done. All right. But I'll tell you what. Even criminals have an issue with people that hurt kids. All right.
Absolutely.
So do gangsters. So does the mob. So does everybody. Normally, you don't mess with kids.
Right.
You don't mess with kids, and you've messed with a kid that is autistic. And the worst thing is that you mess with mine, and I won't stop. I'm not going to stop. You can't make me stop. You can't threaten me and make me stop. It's not going to work. Get over yourself. You ain't that important. And I'm talking to whoever's got my kid, whoever's wanting to follow my volunteers around.
Damn. I
You're
haven't heard.
pathetic.
Yes.
And you're
Whoever
a
is.
coward.
Absolutely.
Well, I can tell you, you're not going to stop volunteers in this area. This community wants to try to find him,
We all do.
and we're not scared. It's a good community.
Damn.
What kind of support would you say you've received from the community, from authorities, from organizations during the search for Sebastian?
A lot of the I've received a lot of support from everybody. Everybody that comes out to help search for my son, every business owner that allows me to put my son's flyer in their window, property owners that I get a hold of and I call up, and they literally drive over to where their property is and unlock it and let us come in and search. I mean, it's extraordinary, and I appreciate that 100%. When I call you up and I ask if I could go on your property, I'm not accusing you. I'm just asking because this is private property.
This is a recent interview, everybody. I think he did that. I think he did this interview yesterday or around that time within the last 24 hours. So we have 111 people in here. 111. That is an angel number, everybody. Triple digits. I believe in that. Make a wish. Let's wish and put the vibes to bring Sebastian Rogers home. Let's keep going. This is a very recent interview.
It's yours. And the only thing I can do is ask you if it's okay if I come on it to search for my son. And I appreciate those that say yes. Those that say no, it's your prerogative to say no, but why would you try to stop me from finding my son? You know, I'm not asking you to let me search this on my own. You can walk with me. You can come with me. Help me find my son. That has been my plea the whole time. I need people to come help me find my son. Heads up, eyes open. He could be around the next corner.
Absolutely.
So I know that we've talked about this toward the beginning of this. For people who are local, who want to come help, who want to come bring eyes to this with you, because there's somebody in here who just a second ago said that, you know, they're a preacher in Gallatin, and I'm sure he can get the congregation, things like that going on. Where is the best place to find where y'all are searching, how to get there, how to get in touch with the people who are organizing that? What's the best way for that? That's gonna be my first question.
Listen up.
We're meeting at when we meet there every morning at around 9:30 at the Rudder, at the parking lot.
There it is. At the
That's where
Rudder.
we meet. We hand out flyers to get out people flyers. We have everybody sign in. The only reason we have people sign in is so that at the end we know how many volunteers we had, so we
And
can do a head count.
Who was there too?
So we're not missing anybody, because the last thing we want is somebody to go missing while we're searching for my son.
Right.
I don't want anybody hurt or injured. You know, if you don't feel comfortable doing something, open your mouth and say it. You know, I try to split people up so that, you know, they have adequate protection. There are people that literally are armed with my people.
There it is. 126 River Road, Hendersonville, everybody.
If somebody local to wanted to get a flyer to hang, like a business owner in their window, or obviously there's the yard signs around, who would people contact to get that? Do you know?
If you're trying to print it out yourself, you can always go on the TBI website and print it out. If you're wanting flyers so that you can put them up so that your customers, your patrons can grab a flyer when they come in, swing by. I got stacks of them. UNC left me 10,000 flyers and we will go through them. TBI has told me that they will print out more flyers for me. I asked for 6,000 the last time I spoke to them. They were kind of like, really? Yeah.
This is what a parent that is looking for their child looks like, everybody. This man, Seth Rogers, is an angel, and he's looking for his son. What we didn't see are the Proudfoots looking for their son. So I don't know. If you haven't changed your mind by now that something's wrong, think again.
And I'm kind of like, I'll take all you can give me, because I'm not going to stop. I got people tearing down flyers and taking them out, and so I got to replace those too. It just means I have to double my efforts more than they already are.
126 River
What about
Road.
the yard signs that we see? Do you know where those are at?
From my understanding, there is a gentleman by the name of Rip Wheeler that has those, I can find his information.
Okay, I can always update people with that. But I know that I'll put one in my yard. I'm happy to do that. There's one actually right at the corner of my neighborhood, and I'm happy to pass out some flyers and some stuff too, and be out there again to help you search. So I'm glad that you've gotten good support from everybody, and I'm putting the address up for everyone. If you want to go help search, if you are local, look, you don't have to come out for the full day. Lend some time, a couple hours. It's, if you have 10 people lend an hour, that's 10 hours. That's what they need. They need eyes. That's the most important thing in these searches.
Eyes.
If you were here yesterday listening to Caleb Harris's parents, that's what they need too. Eyes. That's what Seth needs.
On your way to work, if you're an Uber driver and you're dropping people off, if you're a Pizza Hut delivery person or Papa John's or Domino's, you're delivering food. You're going everywhere. Just if you're a delivery person, period. You get out to more places. UPS drivers, FedEx drivers, anybody that's out there on the road, including law enforcement. If you're out there, I need your eyes open. Please look for my son.
That's what you do say. Please look for my son.
So I'm going to ask you kind of a tough question, and again, you don't have to answer because I know this is taking an emotional toll on you, and I know this question is going to be kind of like that. But the reason I'm asking it is I think that one thing that I have to remind people when you're looking at true crime, current events, things like that this is not entertainment. This is somebody's life. This is somebody's family. This is somebody's child, and I sometimes feel that can get lost in the shuffle. So for whatever you're comfortable doing, saying, how have you been coping with the emotional toll of his disappearance? How's it affected your life, your routine? I know you told me a story about your house.
I don't have a life. When
I don't blame you, man.
my life was a every other weekend or a summer break or a spring break or a fall break. That's when I had life. My life stopped when I dropped my son off at his mother's house. Then I would just work. My life began again when I picked him up on my next following Friday.
That's about right. With being a parent.
Before I went into law enforcement, I was working at Allied. And I told them, listen, every other weekend, I need off. I was like, I will work 12 days in a row. But you have to give me my every other weekend off. Don't call me to work. I'm not gonna do it. I will work all these days so I can have my Friday, Saturday, and Sunday with my son. That's it. My life revolved around my son. And since my son has gone missing, my life I don't have one.
You do,
Because
man.
my life is missing. My
You're
son is
looking
missing.
for him. You're doing the
My
right
mom
thing.
told me I need to clean my house. That'll help me. I can't clean my house. I can't really clean my house. I clean my kitchen. I run my dishwasher. Can't go into my son's room. He's not in there. I don't want to clean up my living room because there's magic cards all over my table. When he comes in, I want it to still be the same way, like he hasn't left. That way, when he walks into my house, he knows that he's back in his sanctuary.
This man right here, everybody. Seth Rogers, Sebastian's dad.
Routine? I don't have a routine. Let's just try to sleep every once in a while. I'll be driving and I just pull over because I get so tired I can't even focus on the road. I just pull over, give me like 30 minutes worth of sleep, and then hit the road again. There is no stop. There is no downtime. There's nothing. There's nothing but the goal of finding Sebastian.
We're all with you, man. We're doing what we
Regarding,
can.
the search and efforts and ongoing, is there anything else regarding that you'd like to share with the people that are listening, or anything else in general you want to share with the people that are listening?
Not really. I mean, I'm giving this all I got.
I know.
Until there's nothing left to give.
You're doing your best, Seth. And everybody, if you want to help, you can do your best by sharing this video. Yes, I want the likes and subscribes, but right now I don't care. I'm at 3 hours and 13 minutes, 14 now. And you know what? We just want to help him find his son. So we want to bring Sebastian Rogers home. When you're done watching this video, or do it now, share this video so it can get out there and let people know what the real deal is. If you started out thinking one way, think again.
And then I'll give some more. I'll find more to give.
So, like I said, as you can see, this man needs help. He needs help. So again, if you are local, I know that there are a lot of local people watching this. I know that this was shared in the groups. I've said this a couple times. Please go out and search, even if you can only do it for an hour, 30 minutes, whatever. If you can't, the Cash App scrolling across the bottom of this, the TMB Fleming, that is Seth's friend who is managing this stuff for him. Because when I tell you all this man does is search for his kid, that is literally all he does. That's all he does.
We
He might
see
get
it.
30 minutes of sleep every now and then. He eats enough to kind of keep going on. So he has people that are helping him with this. And like I said, searching can be expensive. So please do help. And if you can't help with your eyes, help monetarily, help, sharing. Even if you aren't in the area,
Share.
Like you said, you can go to the TBI's website, download Sebastian's flyer.
Please share.
Plaster all over your social media, because optics are everything. In
Let
cases
people
like
know.
this.
Thank you.
There's a couple questions in the chat that I've gotten a lot that I want to
Okay,
ask. And again, you can answer whatever you don't want to answer. But
We're almost done with this heartbreaking video. I appreciate every single one of you so very much. Thank you. The only reason that our channel is awesome is because you're here. Thank you so much. Let's finish.
a lot of questions, and I know that this is going to come up in the coming days because it's already been, so that's why I'm asking it, is in regard to the clothes that he was wearing to Texas Roadhouse. Do you know if police have it? Do you know if they're accounted for? Anything like that? Or are you not even allowed to say?
I don't. I have no idea.
He's allowed to say. He says
we're
everything.
talking about, I was in that house for on and off for 3 days before it became a hostile situation. But I didn't get to see that video of Texas Roadhouse for over a month before they showed me that video. So I can't even tell you what clothes were there. That would be something that the investigators would have to actually look for.
Okay. I know people asked, and I wanted to make sure that, they heard it from you. So the goal with this is to make sure that we quell rumors around it, because really when you're searching for somebody, you want to make sure that the truth is what's out there and the truth people have, and getting it straight from you, is helpful in that situation. One thing that I want to address, I want to be very cognizant of your time, because I know you're mentally and physically exhausted. This is
we're
something
all
I'm going to
with
say
you.
on my own, because again, I'm on these apps. I see comments that are made. I see what people say about people, and people can be very cruel on the internet.
Absolutely.
With some of Seth's interviews, people have tried to judge his body language, the way he holds his hands over his head or whatever. I'm telling you, think about how you would feel if you had been on your feet with limited sleep, limited food, an emotional, or not even a roller coaster, just an emotional dive. Plus, you injure yourself while searching. Just kind of think about that before people start giving any accusations about him, because I can tell you, everybody,
zero.
I've talked to him a good bit, especially in the last few days. A lot
None.
of creators that I know who he's talked to, Pascal, others that he's been with.
Come
who he's
talk to
talked
us.
We can all tell you that this man is incredibly genuine, and the only thing he wants in the world is to find his kid.
Agreed. Everybody
He has good
agreed.
reason to believe that Sebastian is still alive. So the important thing to do is find him, because in these situations, time is always of the essence. And I feel personally, without you having to say this, is that once, I think how I want to word this carefully. Once they scaled back the search, it felt like there was no more search except for what you were doing. Even with the search, when it was heavy, they didn't take, I know that they took your phone and they took Katie's phone for a long period of time. I know Chris got his phone back within a matter of hours.
Damn.
I know that they came in and searched the house for a couple of times. When I say search the house, I mean they came in and looked, but there's not been anything done, from my understanding, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, forensically.
Me either. No accusations towards that. None.
So I just feel that there's a lot more that can be done. I believe in the power of social media. We've seen what social media can do in a lot of different cases, and I'm probably going to not be people's favorite person when I say this, but get on law enforcement, guys. Call the Sumner County Sheriff. Start asking some of these questions. Ask them why. because, you could bring luminol in and see if there was, any injuries. You could see possibly, where he went out. You go back to the Idaho, they were able to get
Agreed.
a partial
Yes.
footprint based on this. And he had only been in the house, from what we know, one time, maybe a couple. I'm just saying that there's a lot that can be done that I don't think has been done. And this boils down to being more than just theft and a bunch of volunteers looking. You need law enforcement on this. And it's been very frustrating in Tennessee to see how law enforcement has been in some of these cases. And maybe I'll give them the benefit of the doubt, so that maybe they're not communicating everything, because they do know stuff that we don't know. They know stuff that we don't know. The public's not entitled to everything, but I would hope that as a parent, they would at least bring Seth in on some of that. And you don't have to say anything to that. I'm just saying that. I know that I've had you for about an hour, and I know that you're exhausted. So before we wrap this up and I let you go, is there anything else that you want to talk about or convey to people? Anything else at all?
I appreciate the help, people. I really do.
Bring Sebastian home.
I know Sumner County doesn't like me. I know that I'm pretty sure the sheriff's office is tired of me.
Why?
I don't care. This is my son.
Yeah.
I'm going to step on people's toes. I'm getting to that point where I'm just fed up. I'm fed up with no answers.
Desperate.
I'm fed up with I'm law enforcement.
Yes,
but I'm
everybody.
an amateur because I'm not an investigator, and I'm seeing things that should have been done and haven't been done, and it's just it's leading to more answers.
Yes,
I'm
agreed.
sorry, it's leading to more questions that don't have answers because things weren't done like that.
Well, I feel like there's some answers here.
More questions.
We're getting
And
closer.
more questions. And I haven't shared everything that I know. But the
No, I know you can't share everything you know. You can't.
I can't. Because some of that stuff that I know that have been through leads that I've gotten, I want to share. But Sebastian deserves justice.
Agreed.
Not vengeance.
So that means
My son's going to have justice. And we're going to find him alive.
so we're talking about the
If you hurt my
Proudfoots.
son, I feel sorry for you.
Yeah, I wouldn't want to cross you either in that way. There's a couple things that I wanted to make sure that we brought up before we closed out too. I'm going to put this here first.
Damn.
So if you want to add, I'm going to stop scrolling for just a moment here on the bottom.
Very, very
But if you want
sad.
to add to Sebastian's reward fund, what's the reward up to currently, Seth?
Listen up, everybody.
Don't add anything to it currently because
You don't add anything to it?
No, I've got some information and I need to go down there and have a talk with that gentleman.
Damn. You hear that, everybody?
Okay. So never mind. Don't do that. Thank you for sharing that. The other thing that I want to make sure that I share with y'all, and
Cash
I'm
App.
scrolling at the bottom as well. If
Cash
you'd like to
App.
go- let me see, there we go. If you'd like to go purchase this, you can go to bonfire.com/Sebastian-Rogers. This makes you a walking billboard for him. You can get in all different colors.
Awesome.
It's only $35, which I can tell you it's print on demand. For print on demand, that is cheap. You can get it in a sweatshirt, a t-shirt, a hoodie, women's clothing. There's all sorts of different options that you have, all sorts of different sizes. And do any the proceeds for this? Does any of this go towards you once you get it, or towards the search?
Cash App, folks, for
It
him.
was supposed to. I haven't seen anything from it.
It sounds like there's things going on behind the scenes that he knows about the parents that we don't. And when I say the parents, I mean the Proudfoots. So don't donate to their whatever donation fund they have up. Do the Cash App for Sebastian Rogers. I'm sorry, I always say it too fast. Sebastian Rogers. Use Cash App and help this man out. He needs it. So does Sebastian.
Okay. You can get it on your own then, and yeah, it's a walking billboard at least.
Yeah, there's actually on the Facebook page, there's a lady up here in Clarksville. I think she's charging like $25 for a shirt. I can get that information and give it to you.
I'm glad,
Yeah, if you
Davey.
get that, I'll happily post that.
Something's going
You
on.
can do that.
I mean, I'd rather it stay in the community. If not in the community, at least in my community. You know, if
Yes.
not Sumner County, then at least in Clarksville, in Montgomery County, because she has a job. And if we can bring income to her job, then it stays instead of sending out to somewhere else. Nothing against the company or whatnot, but really don't know them. Somebody asked me to design it, and they asked me permission. I told them go ahead. And then this lady saw him, and she runs a print shop up here in Clarksville, and she's the one that made this one for me. So
Good
The
man.
next thing, and then there's gonna be two more things that we close on that I want to talk
And
about.
then we'll be
regarding,
done.
something that you told me about Nancy Grace tonight as well. That I forgot to say at the beginning, so I want to make people know that you're doing it. But
So now you know this was after the Nancy Grace show. This is very close in time, 24 hours or so ago. We're getting close, guys.
before we do, let me show you this. A lot of y'all have been asking about a Cash App, GoFundMe, etc. There is a GoFundMe, and I talked to him about the GoFundMe. And look, GoFundMe's take 50%. So then I said, "Do you have a Cash App?" And he doesn't really manage that himself. He'll tell you that. He'll tell you that right now. But his friend is helping him with it. So if you want to Cash App him, there you go. It's been scrolling across the thing the whole time. If you want to take your phone out and snap that or screenshot that so that you can Cash App. Seth, you can tell them that money goes to you. That goes to the search. That goes to help him. So a lot of y'all are asking what you can do financially. So that's the way to do it.
I put it down below, everybody.
yeah,
Now, I'll leave.
go ahead.
Go ahead. Sorry.
No, go ahead.
So the other things I want to talk about, I'm gonna leave this up while we do. At the beginning of this, we talked about the fact that, or I talked about the fact that Chris said, or maybe I forgot to talk about it. Chris said that he was going to take a lie detector test, a polygraph.
Here we go,
He had
everybody.
said, if I recall, on a previous interview, that he had already taken one.
And then
Then when Nancy Grace asked him, he said he hadn't taken one. And Nancy said, if I set one up, will you take one? And he said he would. So Nancy Grace sets up the polygraph. And Chris gives the excuse that he can't take it because of the TBI. Literally have never heard that excuse ever, because it would have nothing to do with that.
you hear that,
However,
everybody?
Seth is also taking a polygraph that Nancy Grace is setting up, and you're doing it on Wednesday?
Yeah, she asked me if I would take one because I haven't had one yet. And
don't
I
need
told
one.
her, sure. And they turned around and called me back earlier today, and they're setting it up for next Wednesday.
There you go, my man. Good man. Good man.
So I want to just kind of point that out, that this man has nothing to hide. Sorry, say again?
Said, yeah, I'll be there.
Yeah, he's got nothing to hide.
And if the TBI tells me that I can't take it, they need to put it in writing so I can show it to everybody.
I have a feeling the TBI isn't going to give a shit if you take the polygraph.
Right.
I'm pretty sure that they won't. I don't care. I don't have anything to hide. So why would I? I don't want to hide behind HIPAA.
Yeah, I get what you're saying. I get what you're saying.
Like the Proudfoots.
Somebody said something, made an offer for you, and I know that you're searching, but I'm going to pin this up, and if you're interested, you can tell me, and I can get you two together.
Damn.
But if you can read what's on the screen, somebody who has a spa in Hendersonville, which I think is very, very generous of you. But I want your information then as well, because if you're willing to do that, I want to support your business. But it might behoove you with what you've done to yourself to maybe take 30 minutes to an hour and take advantage of this. If you want it, I can get with this person, and I can get you with them, and we can get everything set up. So you can let me know.
Do it, Seth. You
But I
need
think
it.
that it would be really beneficial for you, because you and I both know. Okay, look, we're not young anymore, Seth. We don't heal like we used to heal, and you know that if you keep going the way that you're going, you're gonna make
Finally.
it so you can't go at all anymore.
Speak for yourself. I'm still young. I put stuff in my goatee to make it look all gray and everything. Okay.
The
Because
goatee.
I put stuff in mine to get rid of the gray, and I didn't do a good job tonight.
So yeah, I think it's called stress, but it's cool. You know, I
That's
find
definitely
myself,
stress.
I can get rid of some of that stress. A lot of it when I find him.
Okay, well then let me put it. Then you will be able to keep going because you heal miraculously, but it will still help your shoulder. Is that better?
That's
before we wrap up. And by the way, for that person, if you want to get a hold of me, shoot me an email. My email, I'll drop it in the chat real quick. It's Justin, JUSTINS, Justin's on TikTok @gmail.com.
Everybody add him.
And you shoot me an email if you don't mind, and I will happily put you two together so you can help him, because this man it'll help him greatly. I know that.
Absolutely.
So before we wrap up, anything else at all that you want to say? This is your opportunity. It's your platform.
Thank everybody for showing up. And I thank all those that will show up. And I just need people to keep your head up and your eyes open. He's out there. We're going to find him. Sebastian's army is going to find him.
And you're going to see me in a couple days out on another search with you. Maybe tomorrow or Friday.
Yeah.
This
I'm
man.
still waiting on information because I've been informed that if my search groups are out there, to stay away from law enforcement search area, because supposedly they're going to arrest anybody that they catch in those areas searching. So I don't know if this is true or fact or hearsay, but I'll find out.
Let us know, and I will make sure to, if that's the case, I will happily blast that information out there. Because why you would stop people from searching?
It's actually very true, Justin. We're hearing that with the Elijah Vu case and many other cases. Law enforcement doesn't want the searchers out there for many reasons. Yeah, I don't agree, but what I agree with is they don't want evidence to get tainted, messed up. If you're out there searching and you find something, it could be the person that did it that can say, "Oh, I found something," and then, or they can step on something or mess up evidence. So I understand that, though they shouldn't be trying to arrest people. That's not the way to go.
Again, I've been out there. Nobody has gone on this search and has been anything but respectful that I've seen of people's property, of people's time.
Yeah, it's
So
not.
why they would want to impede searching for a kid.
I agree with that.
I think we used the word odd.
Do I?
Again, sorry. I said I think we used the word odd earlier, but I'm sorry. What'd you say? I interrupted you.
When law enforcement is doing a search, they do grid searches and stuff like that. I could see that they don't want any interference from
Exactly.
people who are not trained.
Right.
They don't want anybody stepping on evidence or
I
anything
just-
of that sort.
Just said
So
that.
believe me, I try to find out where they're at so that I'm not having any of my volunteers coming across them. So if you are out volunteering and you are handing out flyers and you see them, kindly just turn around and walk the other direction.
Yes.
Because
You'll be okay.
we don't need to be spending money on bail. Okay.
Agreed.
Yeah, I would agree with that. So I guess if you're going to search, don't do it. With that being said, don't do that on your own. Just meet at the Rudder at 9:30, or if people were to get there a little bit later, are they still able to search?
Yeah.
They get there after that 9:30 mark.
Yeah.
So if you can't get there at 9:30, they're doing it between 9:30 and 5. Get there when you can. Again, if you can donate just a couple hours, time is free. So
It's not free,
well, I
but
appreciate you
yeah,
coming on and
it's worth it.
opening up. I know that these interviews take a lot out of you. So I mean, I appreciate it. I want to make sure that we get the word out like you do. This is, like I said, this is my community. And the last thing I'm going to say on this is what I'm very frustrated with as far as communication goes, and this has nothing to do with you, is that one of two things is going on here.
Here we go.
Either in our community, the community that I live in, where I have a child in this community, either there's a child abductor out there,
yes,
and they have not reassured the community that we're safe, or they don't believe that there's a risk to the entire community, and there's a reason for that. Those are the only two options that you have here. But being the fact that I am a member of this community, I live in this county.
Correct.
It would be nice for them to give us an update on what they think on that. And that's what I'll say for that.
Yeah, it's
So, Seth, I appreciate your time.
you're spot on, Justin.
Try to get some rest. And that when that person messages me, I'll put you in contact with them. And I hope that you take advantage of the massage. And the other thing, which I know I have beaten this horse to death with you. I know that, but I'm going to say it again anyways.
One more
Please call
time.
Joe Petito.
Will do.
All right, we're gonna stop this and we're gonna pull it down. We've been on here for a lot of hours, and we're doing this for Sebastian. Everybody, we're doing this for Sebastian. We're doing this to expose whoever it is that has done this. We don't want false accusations, but we want the accusations to be directed in the correct direction. And from the beginning of this episode until 3 hours and 33 minutes in, another angel number, everybody, 333. Let's take a second to put the vibes out there, put the prayers out there for Sebastian, everybody. We want to bring Sebastian home. That's why we're here. I'm tired. I worked all day. All of you probably did. I didn't come on here for any self-serving. If you have a moment to like, subscribe, and share, please do. Now, before we say goodnight, Sadie's mama, thank you. Carly, everybody, I want to show you before everyone hops off. Everyone's asking me about our community, our new community page. You can see everything. You're going to get all the notifications. Please take a look right here. Before you go to my page, Guilty of Crime, and take a look at my membership page. You don't need to go to the membership page. You can just go to my page and hit join. But if you look at the membership page, it tells you what perks you're going to get. So I wanted to show you that. People were asking me, and yes, 333, everybody. Take a prayer for Sebastian. Take a look at the community page. If you want to follow, you can follow without joining. Just subscribe. If you want to follow and you want the perks, you go to your membership tab and you take a look. We've got loyalty badges, and then you could read further into what each one of them means. You'll get exclusive shout outs, priority comments, and we're going to do secret live chats, everybody. We're going to get photos, status updates, and exclusive member videos, member streams, and you can connect with me on social media directly for the 3rd tier up. So everything else, there's an everything else perk. There's a lot of things in this community. You can just go to my homepage and hit the join button. If you hit the join button, everybody, I know a lot of people are getting out of here, but I really don't want you to miss some of the things going on. The smallest amount is going to help my page to fund me and be able to be here and grow. It's not a lot of money for me, and if it's not too much for you, for $2.99 you'll have the Crime Crew official. You'll get a lot of perks for that, I promise, and you'll be able to see when everything's coming up. So for $2.99 you'll be able to follow everything. For $6.99 you'll get a little more, and if you can afford $24.99, take a look in it. Just wanted to let you know, everybody's emailing me, and it's hard for me to email everybody back. So I don't have the time for that. I work full time, but I'm also trying to get justice for Sebastian Rogers, and we're currently working on Madeline Soto, everybody. I have big news for you, and I hope I can bring it out tomorrow. I'm going to get off of this live and talk to the person that's making the Madeline Soto Act. There's a Madeline Soto Act that's coming into place, and you ask what it is. I don't even know what it is because I've been on here for 3.5 hours, and I need to talk to the lady. And you guys saw the 911 calls were released, as well as, spoiler alert, the medical examiner is not going to be able to release the medical report because Maddie was a minor. I don't know how we're going to get through that loophole, but we will. Hopefully her biological dad can get something bypassed at some point, or we hear it in court. I know we all want to know, but it's for the sake of the case. So I know we all want to know the medical examiner. We want to see the report, but remember, it's about Maddie Soto. And I don't forget Elijah Vu. Everybody don't forget Elijah Vu. Very sweet little angel baby that's probably not alive anymore. I just bring it to you how I see it and what's real. I just did a video on him yesterday, I believe. I did 2 back-to-backs, one Elijah Vu, one Madeline Soto. Don't forget about Elijah. I did an update yesterday. Go on my page, hit my live section, and don't forget about Elijah Vu, everybody. Please, if you can donate. If you can go out and search, go out and search. We've got Elijah Vu, we've got Madeline Soto, and now we've got Sebastian Rogers. It's a lot for one person. Luckily, lovely Carly is helping me mod this page, and all of you Crime Crew are sending me information that I can't get fast enough. So I want to thank you. If you want to join the channel, and you can do it for free by just hitting the just subscribing to my channel and hitting the notification bell. If you can afford the next member up, I suggest you join the channel for $2.99 a month and get other perks that you really don't want to miss out on. If you can't afford anything, that's cool. I understand. Just go to my page and just subscribe. That's all you got to do is hit subscribe. It's not here because obviously I'm subscribed to myself, but go to the membership tab, take a look. You don't need to subscribe to look at my community page. I've got lots of things on it. I'm showing you how to join. I'm talking about Sebastian. I'm talking about Jennifer and Madeline. I'm talking about Elijah Vu and the drone search. There's lots of information on this page. So please check it out, everybody. I see you all dropping out. I love each and every one of you so much. Thank you for being here. I know it's a lot. You guys are amazing. And Carly, you're amazing. Thank you, thank you, thank you. On that note, I'm going to hit that outro.
Guilty of crime.
I want to thank you for watching. If you enjoyed my content, please share this video, like, and subscribe. You can also follow me over at Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, X, or Gmail. If you'd like to donate to my channel, you can use Cash App or Venmo or PayPal. Thank you very much in advance. Guilty of crime.
Are you guilty?